Shabbat Shalom Mishpacha. This is Rabbi Simon Altaf. Today's Sabbath lecture, Baruch Hashem Yahweh, for another week, end to another week. Okay, I think we'll kick-start it a little earlier today, with about 10 minutes, but not too long for everybody else turns up. So this Shabbat we'll look at a few different things. Coronavirus, I guess distancing and all that. I had read news that in India there was a lot of discrimination against some Muslims because they were claiming that these Muslims, they had a meeting about, little while ago, and in that meeting it was just kind of like a religious gathering, and some Muslims came back and they got the coronavirus, and so they feared that because of some police authority or some local politician making a claim that the Muslims brought the coronavirus, so they started calling that corona terrorism, and for that reason they started to persecute anybody that was Muslim over there. And that's basically been going on in India, where they've been beating up women and men who are Muslim, and there's a little bit of a religious war going on over there between the extremist Hindus, because there are extremist Hindus as well, just as there are extremist Muslims. So the extremist people are doing that, and the scientists over there, they have said that no, there is not any evidence to suggest that this was brought into the country by Muslims deliberately trying to target Indian or Hindu people. And as you know that a lot of this has created a lot of tensions even in the US. As you know that when it first started off, I don't know if it's still happening, but when it first came out, a lot of Chinese people were being cursed down, and people were giving them a funny stare as if the Chinese people deliberately brought this disease into this country. And that happened with some Chinese in metros when the metro was running, when it wasn't shut, that the Chinese were being looked down upon and cursed at, and some even had fight. They were trying to hit them in the US, and similar cases occurred in England as well, where a couple of incidences that took place were discrimination against Chinese people, generally speaking. So again, it's not uncommon, it's not unheard of, it's happening around the country, different places. But I think that we got to be a bit careful, because just as much as a Chinese person who may or may not be a carrier and coming into the United States from China, may or may not be a carrier, may have brought it in. Obviously, it came in through some method. Some Chinese maybe came over unknowingly, bringing the disease in, and then now the population has to deal with it, etc. And I guess there's our lockdown is probably coming to almost an end, not quite at an end, coming to an end, and some other states will open up this coming week, and I from what I can tell is some others will open up later down the road. So that's where we are, and this is definitely a time to learn lessons of not just social distancing, but there are also lessons to be learned in personal hygiene. The Jews have been washing their hands for time immemorial, but the Christians, they have not been doing that. Christians, anything that the Jews did, the Christians saw that as an anathema and said, no, we're going to do the opposite. So today you see the result of what the Christians do opposite. So it's kind of ironic that now, instead of taking this as some kind of religious obligation, now every government's prime minister or president is telling their people, you must wash your hand. When you come out When you go in, you must wash your hand. Isn't that what the Jews did for 2,000 years and even longer? So my point is that now, the only thing they haven't said, use two-handle cup. That'll probably be next. So use two-handle cup. So those of you who don't have the two-handle cup, get one for yourself. Because it is actually excellent. When you come from outside, and if you have the coronavirus, the virus bacteria on your hands, the two-handle cup is excellent because you will not be passing infection between hands. You'll be using that to wash your hands with soap, carbolic acid soap, or some other, even if you use alcohol or the sanitizer, so you will be able to take care of it pretty quickly. Now, so this may be something that might be a little hard for some people because who are not used to washing their hands. They should, learn to do that. And I'm not saying it because of guidelines. I'm saying it because it should be general hygiene, that when you get up in the mornings, this is Torah, guidelines, or you could say rabbinic guidelines, that you wash your hands in the morning. And it's a good idea. And this is why we have the two-handle cup, that we should wash our hands. Shabbat Shalom to all of you that just came in the room. Rabbi Hanania, Rabbi Zachariah, and the Rabbi Michael, Rabbi Bet Zion, and everyone else, all the other family. Shabbat Shalom to you. So my point is that all of this is now become imperative, and nobody will be laughing at the Jews washing their hands today, because the whole world is asked to wash their hands. And there was something remarkable that happened in Pakistan, that the government has given the contract of the cure, for hydroxychloroquine and other things, to an Israeli company. That has never happened in history. It's the first time in history that Pakistan, a Muslim nation, has actually given the contract to a Jewish firm to make those medicines and do the research, etc. I thought that was a nice little change, but having said that, to be honest and to be fair to the Muslims, they haven't done the persecution of the Jews near enough as much as the Christian people have. So if historically we go back 2,000 years, Christians are notorious for discrimination and persecution of the Jews throughout history, in Europe, especially Europe, and other countries too. Whilst the Muslim countries have mainly not been active in that kind of thing, and they've had their little, cousin kind of fights, but they haven't really, gone out of their way to, especially, burn their books and punish them that kind of way. Christians have done plenty of that, and Christians will reap the rewards for that, and Christians will pay the penalty, and Christians will suffer the reward of what they did. And they're called in Jesus killers, and depending on what and where your belief is, me personally, Jesus could be a type, and Jesus could be a type, if you believe that, a type. He could be a type of Messiah, not that he is a Messiah, because he could be a type of Messiah, and he is a Messiah, not the Messiah, because I will only believe that the Messiah is when somebody sits on the ruling seat of Israel with the Torah in his hands. That will be the Messiah, by the way. And Jesus didn't do that. So let's be fair, and let's at least say that since Jesus did not sit on the throne and claim Messiahship, you can't force him to be a Messiah. In fact, he himself said, "My kingdom is not of this world." So, as a genuinely good rabbi, as an anointed person, simply Messiah in the Hebrew tongue, somebody who's got the anointing is, it's called a Messiah. It could be a prophet, it could be a king, it could be a nobleman, or somebody else. So, unless you prove me otherwise, unless you show me evidence and say, well, no, Rabbi Simon, Jesus did proclaim to be a king and he was sitting in Jerusalem at the throne, then okay, then yes, then he is a Messiah at some point in history, but definitely not a Messiah right now, or the Messiah right now, because there is no king in Israel. So until a king sits in Israel, And I guess Jews are right to have a contention against him or against the Christians that he cannot be the Messiah unless he sat on the throne. And where is the peace that's supposed to come in the world as a result of the Messiah sitting on the throne? So, you could give the Jews credit for at least believing their scriptures, because they don't go around claiming something to be true when it's not true, and Christians do. Christians are notorious for lying, notorious for believing things that are not true. And with that, I mean, there was something, I think it was a scripture from the book of Matthew, and I'm going to have to look it up in my Bible over here. Matthew, let me just see. I'm going to have to go to Matthew chapter 7, I believe it is. Matthew chapter 7, and maybe I will read it. Matthew chapter 7. And what Matthew chapter 7 really, I mean, it comes after the so-called Christian term Beatitudes, which is they say that's in 5. But in Matthew chapter 7, I may have to read the whole chapter in order to get to the heart of the matter. And it says as follows: do not judge, that you be not judged. For whatever standard you judge with, you shall be judged the same, and with what measure you measure, it shall be measured you the same. That, I guess, the context starts with chapter 7. And why do you seek the speck that is in your brother's eye, or fail to see the beam of wood that is in your own eye? Or how will you say to your brother, let me pull out the speck out of your eye, while the beam of wood is in your own eye? And so, it kind of goes on and on in this particular chapter. And it does actually, say many things within. And a lot of these terms, and I would particularly go to 24. Therefore, whosoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man which built his base upon a rock, or built his house upon a rock. Or another way to say it is, therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and executes them, or, puts them into application. So Christians are notorious and guilty of not doing that. So Jesus said, if you apply them, if you put them into execution mode, or if you, execute it in your life, then you are, then you have done what I said. But have Christians done that? I submit to you, no, they've never done that. So Christians are the utmost guilty. In fact, I saw a movie yesterday, which was a historical film, Indian movie, of a particular Indian man from the Sikh religion, who fought a kind of like a freedom fight against the British in around the 1930 era, 1930, 1931, around that time, before the independence. And I learned a couple of things. And one thing I learned, which I admit I didn't know, of how long a man can live on fasting. Well, this particular man, he was called, this particular guy, he went on a fast. There was 2 of them that went on a fast, and one of the person that went on a fast, obviously they were drinking water, and he only lived up to 63 days. He survived 63 days, then he died, not eating anything except water. The second man, the one that survived and broke his fast on his father's request, although he was hanged by the British, he survived his fast for 119 days. Now that was news to me. Wow, a man can live fasting for 119 days. Well, let's just say, if we take the minimum, 63 days, the other guy died at 63, and this guy survived for 119 days. He probably could have carried on another couple of days. So he survived 119 days fasting on water. Amazing. I thought that's amazing. However, I disagreed with his pathology and his psychology and his, today Indian people hold him very high. I don't hold him so high. Reason being, because I don't see violence, and we are known for violence. I mean, hear that coming from a lady is like night and day. We people Not that we went out to commit violence, but our forefather Levi, what he did with Shechem, if you remember the story. So we were kind of known for that violence, and yet I say that peace is the way, right? And that's exactly what Jesus taught. Peace is the way, love and peace. And I admire Gandhi, because Gandhi, he basically followed Jesus' principles. He actually held Jesus very high. He inspired to Jesus. He said, Jesus is my inspiration. And Gandhi was there in this movie, and Gandhi said about this guy, he said, look, I do not agree with and he used a very ancient Indian term for violence and non-violence. And because I understand the ancient Indian language, which is actually, by the way, closer to Hebrew, in other words, we do have some of those words in the Bible, Sanskrit. So he used some Sanskrit words in the movie, which I was kind of fascinated with for me, that I was, that what they mean is that he was saying that, the only way to serve freedom is non-violence and love. It's the only way to freedom. And I thought to myself, just when I heard these words from him, what a remarkable guy. He's teaching his people that to get rid of the British Empire is not going to be through violence. Whilst these other guys, this guy that they hold up very high, the Sikh guy, he was actually, using violence, kill people, murder British officers, and then, try to get rid of them that way and throw a bomb in the parliament just to scare them off, things like that. And they were part of a communist party. And they didn't believe in God, by the way, although Sikh people generally believe in God. But, the Sikh guy there in the movie, he says to this guy, he says, please believe in God before you die, because it's about to be hanged. And the guy says, no, I do not believe in God, and I don't care. I'm going to die, and that's okay, because I will die for my belief and for freedom. So he kind of dies. It's basically, the guy's name is Bhagat Singh. If you want to check him up, Bhagat Singh. Bhagat Singh. Bhagat Singh, right, was basically going about fighting the British, and but he never got the British out of the country. So to me, right, Bhagat Singh actually failed to do what he wanted to do through violence. And I think, not only do I think, but I know the person that succeeded was Gandhi. Gandhi actually used the principles of Jesus of Nazareth to throw away a whole empire that had ruled them for 150 years, very strong empire. 150 years they ruled them, and he used peace and he used love to get rid of this empire. So he actually left a lasting message to his people. Today, Indians inspired to Gandhi. Some of them don't follow his principles properly, but a lot of them, in fact, all of them aspire to Gandhi. And I think Gandhi was probably more Christian than all the Christian world put together today. That's what I will say. That's what I was trying to say, is that Gandhi was more Christian than the Christians put together, because Christians lie, Christians cheat, Christians deceive, and Christians do not follow who they believe to be God and Messiah. So now, that's, let me put it out there completely. And I don't believe that. I don't believe for a second that, what Christians believe. So let's just put ourselves to one side. So having said that, also there was some confusion between the term free and the term pay. And I wanted to make a little clarification point that I made. I said maybe a few weeks ago that don't take things free. Now let me actually clarify what that means. When I say don't take things free, I mean steal. Like if an author has a book and somebody else is flogging it on the internet without the author's knowledge and approval, that is stealing. So it's like stealing intellectual property. That's what I meant by not taking it free. Because when you don't buy that author's book and you steal it, you're actually committing, you may not be committing a crime as in, nobody's going to come and arrest you maybe, but it's technically a crime still in the air. In spiritual air, it's a crime, and this will, karma will come to you for that reason. But what about if an author is giving away a book free? Fine, take it. If an author is giving his books free, you take it. And if a company is giving you free burgers, McDonald's offering you free hamburgers, then yes, you can take it, because McDonald's offering it. It's their burgers. So if they're offering it, so clarification is this. I didn't say, hey, don't take free burgers from McDonald's. It's theft, because it's not theft. But I did say that don't steal, don't steal an author's work that he's asking people to purchase because he's spent time writing it. And since I'm an author as well, I would say the same thing. A while ago, not too long ago, there was some guy on the internet who was publishing the Abrahamic-Faith Bible and telling everybody to download it when that wasn't authorized by me. So that was also stealing. So don't do that, because it does come to affect you in the longer term. And I'm not saying it just for myself, I'm saying it to you. And I will also say this. This is something that needs to be understood. Now, if McDonald's were offering free burgers, I would not eat them. Why? Let me tell you why I wouldn't eat them. Because if you don't circulate energy, you do not get energy. Money is energy. And I have been many times at places where people have been giving free stuff and I refuse to take it. And I'm speaking about myself now. That I have been in places where free food was being offered, not theft, genuinely free food was being offered, and I said, no, thank you. Why? Because I understand that when you pay for something, whether it's food, whether it's a car, whether it's something else, you're circulating energy. yeah, Rabbi Kefa. You're circulating energy. And if you don't circulate energy, you will not receive energy back, because it will go around circle. You circulate it, it will come back around circle. If you don't circulate nothing, you get nothing. That's what I mean by free. Now, Rabbi Kefa is saying that if someone gives me a free Mercedes-Benz, I am going to take it gladly. And he says Africa is a poster child for this. So my point for free is I'm trying to illustrate a point. And I'm not saying this because I hate people or I don't want you to receive things free or you have to pay for it. I'm not saying it because of that. I'm giving you a spiritual principle that, is enshrined in our Torah. It's enshrined in there, by the way. And I don't think many people realize that. That, all the things that you today practice and gladly believe and happily do, like paying tax, guess where that came from? It came out of the Torah as well. A lot of people don't even realize that. So we are the people who enshrine these principles in our holy books. So if you circulate something, if you circulate energy, money is energy, if you circulate it, it comes around 360 back to you. But if you circulate nothing, by the way, you get nothing. So that's the principle I am working with. I wasn't working with so much with the right or wrong. I wasn't so much speaking about right or wrong, but I was speaking about circulation of energy, and what you give, you receive back. If you don't give, you don't receive. So that's my clarification for that point. So moving on, we come back to Jesus' point. So Jesus' point being that you must practice what you learn. Now when he says do not judge, you see, again, of course there is courts, there's law courts, and they do judgments every day. They put people behind bars and they free some people who are not guilty and so on and so forth. Here, the idea is not that Jesus is saying, hey, judge, don't sit in the court and make judgment calls. It is not about that. Here what Jesus is speaking about is we as people, when we sit in our homes or somewhere else, in our groups, in meetings or in, general, gatherings, and we make judgment calls, what is basically saying is it will cause, you got to understand the spiritual principle behind this. It will create resistance. This is what I call resistance. A resistance when created in your body will create a weakness and will create a lack of manifestation. So when we create a lot of resistances, we will not get manifestations coming to us. Manifestations will not work anymore for us. And that is the purpose behind this judgment. Because to make a point wider understood, if everybody has God within them, kingdom is within everybody, for argument's sake. And you are judging another person, then who are you judging and what are you judging? That means God is judging God, right? Technically, because if God is within us and God judges somebody out there who also has God within them, so God judges God. In other words, you create conflict. Remember what Jesus said? Jesus said that if Satan being doubt, Satan being restriction, Satan being, abandonment of belief, because we got to understand Satan in proper terms. Satan is not some, like idea out there that's, kind of waiting with a, red horns or something. What they teach you in the churches. So Satan is technically your doubt, your weakness, your unbelief. If Satan is divided at his own house, how can he succeed? Meaning that if you have unbelief and doubt, how can you receive anything? Because that is Satan technically. Satan meaning that is a personification of a being that the Christian church made into something that is technically not. So this is the other thing, is Satan was made into something that is not. And if we now how do we take Satan upon ourselves? Very easy, because I can create unbelief in me. Unbelief will create resistance, and unbelief will also create doubt. And if I have doubt at something, if I create doubt, then technically Satan rules in my life. Well, what is Satan then? Satan is anything that causes me to doubt, causes me to practice self-doubt or self, resistances, or what we call limiting beliefs. That is technically what a limiting belief is. A limiting belief is anything in which you have put a belief in your mind meaning your heart, that you believe that, oh, well, if I do it this way, it won't work, and if I do it that way, it will. So be very careful of limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs will cause you to not manifest your desires. So that's something that I think I need to bear out. Now, let me give you the practice of limiting belief. The practice. Because a lot of people don't understand what is the practice of limiting belief. Because a lot of people, you see, everybody reads books and Bibles and all that, and but very few people really understand what the words mean. So I always come back and say, don't just recite it like a parrot. Try to understand what it actually means. So limiting belief, because I dealt with this point with somebody else recently abroad in another country, was that I found that their whole statement was limiting belief. Why? Because they were saying to the effect of, I would like to have a car, or I would like to work in such and such a job abroad in America. Or they were saying, I want to work in America. I want to have this job. When you are saying, I want to, and you write your statement, I want to work in America, I want to have this car in my life, that, by the way, is created a limiting belief. By saying, I want to, what you're admitting to is you don't have it. It's a negative. When you speak like that, you're cementing a negative into your life constantly. So guess where that's going to go? You can be doing that for the next 10 years and you won't get it. That belief will because you've already cemented a negative belief. So always when you say, you will say, I am, the recipient of such and such. So you're not saying I want to, you're saying I am recipient of such and such. If you say I am the owner of a Mercedes, or I'm the owner of a Ford F-150 truck, then you're not acknowledging negative. You're not saying I want to. You're saying I am, or you're saying I have. So I am and I have, those two words are meaning that you don't lack. See, there's a lack and there's a not lack. So you always want to write your affirmations. A lot of people, I noticed that a lot of people struggle to write their affirmations correctly. And this is how this person, when they wrote their affirmations, they wrote them totally wrong, because a lot of the statements were like, I want to have I want to do this, I want to work in America, I want to have a car, I want to have a house. It was totally baloney, it's like holy baloney, shaloney, it's not going to work, not going to happen. So, and I proved my point because this person did that for 1.5 years, and I went back and I checked and I said, what happened? How come it didn't work? And then I realized that it was because all the affirmations were written wrong. And then I inquired about the imagination visualization practice, and that was also done wrong. So, by my it took me only 5 minutes to correct that person. Or you could be doing this for the rest of your life and not get anywhere. So, what is it going to be? You need instructions and you want to do it properly, or you want to just fumble in the dark for the rest of your life and hoping that it might work? It doesn't work like that. So, I have been, I'm an engineer by profession, system engineer. I'm a software engineer, okay, by profession. Also a physician. I'm also a physician. I'm a software engineer. I spend time in the military. Kind of man of many vocations, I guess, or many talents. But my point is this: that when I, as an engineer, when I put something out, I like to test it. I like to test it, what works and what does not work. And if it doesn't work, there's no point me teaching you something that don't work, because I'm wasting your time and I'm wasting my time as well, because I'm teaching you something that's totally wasted, waste of time. So I have to, I don't work with this idea of I believe it will work. I think that's a nonsensical statement, because a lot of you will acknowledge at one point, you believed many different things. You might have believed that Santa Claus is real. You might have believed that Jesus is God. Or you might have believed that, I don't know, you're going to get raptured. A lot of you had those beliefs. Or you might believe that we're going to be in Israel next year. Or you might have believed in 1988 that Jesus is going to come back and restore everything. Or in 2012. Or in 2015. And on it goes. So my point is, belief is actually the wrong way to do it. If you wrote your affirmation, I believe I'm going to be the next president of the US, well, guess what? You'll probably be writing this for the next 100 years, and you'll probably never get there. So you have to not believe, you have to act, and you have to do Jesus' words. Well, if a man built his house on sand, I'm paraphrasing what Jesus now said. If a man, because he's a great teacher, at the end of the day, he was a rabbi, and he was teaching people principles of manifesting. And he taught principles of manifesting to Israel. He said, look, it's not the way to fight the Romans, to get rid of the Romans. You have to do this through peace. This is why I said that Gandhi proved Jesus, but Christians did not prove Jesus, and neither did the Jews. The Jews also did not prove Jesus' words, because they didn't follow him either. His 12 disciples didn't follow him either. So they were equally as wrong or as guilty as are the Christians today in 2020 who don't follow his words. So my point is this, that Jesus was not creating something new. He picked up things from the Torah, from the prophets, and he was trying to teach them in a different way, in a different light. So we are here actually practicing those things that came out of the Torah. So this is why I'm trying to teach you what is weak and what is strong. What is a weak way to write and what is a strong way to write. What is a right way and what is a wrong way. I want you all to be successful. I want you all to be happy in your lives. And Baruch Hashem, Yahweh, that anybody that spent any time under my tutelage has never gone back and said, oh, Rabbi Simon wasted my time. I was a student for 6 years and I got nowhere. Everybody that came to me went with something. Even those people that left me, they took something from me. And they probably reaped some benefit. Maybe they don't acknowledge it, but they reaped the benefit of it. So, my point is this, that you should always practice what works and discard what doesn't work. And I happen to be in a unique privileged position because I happen to have practiced this thing for 25 years. So, I'm not yet 75 years old. I'm not even 60 years old. I'm not even, So my point is this, that I actually had the privilege from a young age practicing it. And I got it wrong. Initially, when I practiced it, I did it the wrong way. But I still managed to make things work, because the way I did it at that point, I wasn't doing the I am. I was doing it in the future statement, I will. But I proved that I will works as well, but it takes longer to work. But it does work, by the way. So if you said, I will live in a 5-bedroom house, statement is actually true and it does work, but it takes longer. But if you said, I am living in a 5-bedroom house, it works quicker. And some of my students proved that. They proved it because they used it. They used it and said, wow, we've got this house in 3 months, opposed to me making it in 5 years. I mean, I got my house as well, 5-bedroom house, but I got it in 5 years. So my point is, it took 5 years to work it. So I'm telling you now that out of systematic testing from myself, I'm not saying, I read some book and it said that if you do it this way, it's more better. No, I'm telling you what worked for me in my life and what will work for you faster as well. Is this, that instead of saying I will, you say I am. But I even found another method. I found another remarkable method, which I'm not yet sharing with you because I'm still testing it, and I have a couple of my students who are out there helping me test it with me. Obviously, they have different desire to test it with, but I can tell you that my next method, my goodness, it's so fast that it happens. Boom, boom, it happens. You apply it and it comes. But again, because it's under testing, I don't want to give it to you here that you go away and you do it and you say, oh, well, Rabbi, didn't work for me the same way it worked for you. So I want to make sure that if it works for me, it has to work for you too. So I've asked 2 of my students, or maybe 3 of my students, if they could kindly test it for me. And I wanted to test it with both, with a relational and with maybe a financial. So 2 things. Now, you see, me, for instance, I tested mine relational, and my relational one worked like a charm. So I've asked my students to test it on the financial side as well. And I guess I'm waiting for results because it's very new. I only started to ask them from last month, like maybe 2 weeks ago, roughly. And although I had been practicing it for a little bit longer, I practiced it for 3 weeks. So it did come to pass. And for me, what I did, it was, like I said, it was a relational. It wasn't financial. The relational took me about 1 week to manifest. And so I would suggest that I'm not yet ready to broadcast this to Joe public, because this will probably go in my book that I'm writing, and it will probably go with an explanation. And whilst my students are testing it, and I've given them the whole month of May, I said, please, use the whole month of May and apply it to 2 areas of your life, 1 relational, 1 financial. So we can see, does it equally work in both areas, or does it only work in one area and not so great on the other, or does it take longer? So you see, these things require time to test and prove and then to give to the people. And so that's my difficulty. My difficulty is this, that everything takes time. And what better time than to practice now when there's lockdown and everybody's locked in their homes. You can't go out other than go to Walmart over here. So this is kind of a good idea, and it's not a bad idea to practice it. And with me, when I talk to my students, I talk to my friends, and I say to my students, what is your list number? And they say, well, Rabbi, my list number is like, I have maybe 15 items on my list, and some might say I have 20 items on my list. And I say, okay. And some will even say, I'm having a hard time writing, and I don't even have 5 items on my list because I'm having a hard time writing. And I say, okay, that's fine. And I say, well, it should be pretty straightforward to come up with items that there must be things that you want in your life, and you can easily say, I would like to have this, and immediately have about a list of 5 to 10 items. But let me tell you what is on my list. or not exactly what is on my list, but the count. I had about 115 items on my list. Think about that. 115 items on my list. Out of those 115, I went through a few of them, and I kind of cut my list down, and now it's kind of at around 84 items on my list. So now, I didn't say to people to write down the list every day, all 84 items. You could choose to write 20 items. You could choose to write 40 items. It's up to you. But my point is this, that I had 115 items. Today, this morning, I kind of screenlined it a little bit, and it's now 84 items. Those 84 items that I have on my list are recorded, and they are listened to by me, and I listen to them, because I'm testing many areas. In my life, I'm testing many areas. And like I said, my top goals are not becoming a billionaire, but is, relational. These are my top goals are relational. And so, I do see my top goals coming to pass. I do see them happening. And so therefore, I can tell you definitely that the I am statements 100% work. And I can also tell you that another method I've employed works even better. But that method is what I will probably, list later down the road. But then I can also, then there's two methods actually. There's two methods. So those two methods that I have, they're under testing right now. And they are not yet, both of those methods have not been proven by my students yet. But they may be proven possibly in May, and maybe they work, and maybe they don't work. Like our president says, maybe the hydroxychloroquine might give great results, and maybe it won't, and we will know. So maybe my methods will be excellent and will work, and maybe they won't. But I can tell you this, I'm already seeing good things coming to pass. I'm already seeing that. So I am convinced that they will work. But time will tell us if they do or they don't. So this is why, as an engineer, I have to test. And so when Scripture says something, when the Bible says something, I have to prove those words to myself that they are true. I can't take a Bible, just like as my student said. One of my students said, how can I take this Scripture and go and tell my son, or grandson, hey, you got to do this. When if it doesn't work for me, how can it work for him in his life? And how can I teach him to do that? And I said, you've got excellent point. Therefore, we have to prove it is true. If we can't prove a statement is true, we cannot go around teaching it to our children or children's children and expect results, because, hey, if it didn't work for me, how can it work for them? The thing is actually true. So, interestingly, we have to prove the statements. And, I cannot take things blindly. I just can't. And I cannot teach things blindly either. I can't say to you, hey, recite this in Hebrew 10 times a day and it will work. Because that's actually blind teaching. If it worked for me, I can say to you, hey, I did this 10 times and it worked for me. There's a high chance or certainty that it will work for you as well. So you do it, it will work, and yes, then I can teach you. You see, I can guarantee you something only if it has worked for me consistently, or it has worked for my students consistently. Then I can say, you know what, 2 of us tried it, or 3 of us tried it, and it worked every time. Boom, you have a result. You can say, yep, Rabbi, yes, Hakohen, we can do it. It worked for you, then it will work for me as well. So I have my students who help me test these things out for me, and we will get results in this. And so because it's very new, I didn't used to do this. I just used to test it myself, and I will wait. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. This is why I said to you. I think last week I made this statement. It's all over the internet. You could go check it. 5 times 55. I told you it doesn't work because I tested it. And how long did it take me to test it? 55 days. I wrote one item, 55 days. It did not come true. So I told you it doesn't work. Now, what they will tell you, the so-called law of attraction gurus out there, they will tell you, hey, it doesn't work. Don't worry about it. Now start again 55 times. That is a load of bullshit. Okay? Because why is it bullshit? Because if it doesn't work 55, then it doesn't matter. You write it 55 times 55. It don't matter. Because the whole criteria is it's got to work 5 times a day. You write it 5 times for 55 days. It's got to work. That is the test. And if you're going to tell me, hey, Rabbi, don't worry about 55 days, now you write it for another 55, then another 55, then another 55, then that's not a test. That's a lie. I cannot propagate a lie. So this is why I told you, I did it. I did the 55, I did the 44, I did the 33. Now start adding up the days. And I've been doing this since last year, by the way. I have the records. I know how many copies I tore, after they didn't work. And I put down result, nil, didn't work. So now I'm telling you what works. What works is this. Write it for 14 times and stop 14 times. Write it for 15 times and stop 15 times. It will work. Now, let me tell you another one that I'm testing. Another one that I was testing was write it 10 times and stop for the whole month, and it will work. Now, write it 8 times. Now I'm telling you what works. You see how the results are now coming in? Totally different to all the BS that you got on the internet. The so-called guru selling you this and selling you that. I'm not selling you nothing. I am telling you what works and what doesn't work. And now, my next one is write it only 8 times. Today is May 2. Yesterday, May 1, I started with my 8-day test. I'm going to write it 8 days, and I'm going to stop, and I'm going to write nothing after that for the whole of the month. I'm detaching from it. I am I'm what they call detaching from it completely. Or you may use different words for detach. There's other words I guess you could use. And so if you detach from that particular affirmation after 8 days of writing, that should be 100% true. That, my friends, my students, my family, mishpacha, is 100% verifiable by me. I guarantee you this, that if you follow my method to the letter, and if you have the, remember, you shouldn't have the lack belief, you shouldn't have the lack mentality, it will work for you. Whether it's a relational, whether it's a money, financial, but the financial one comes under complex, meaning it has many parts to it, so it can take longer to work. I'm not saying it's going to come to pass in 30 days, but it may take 2 months, it may take 6 months, or even if it takes 6 years, but it will work, depending on how complex your affirmation is. So, like if you put down, I am a billionaire, for instance. If you put down I am a billionaire, it may take a decade to get there. But would you rather be a billionaire in a decade, or would you rather be a poor man in the street? Ask yourself that question. Would you rather follow Rabbi Simon's method and be a billionaire in 10 years? And maybe by year 5, maybe you have $100 million. Would you rather be there? Or would you rather be, thinking about it, what do I need? What do I want? Think about that. And I would say, you're probably going to say, you know what? I'd rather have 100 million in 5 years and go on to become a billionaire in 10. Yes, that's where you want to be. So nothing is impossible. Everything is possible, but within the systematic method, the systematic application. So I don't give you these words just out of gist and out of, because I read it in some book. No. The whole idea of Jesus of Nazareth teaching Torah, because that's what he did, he taught Torah. The whole idea in Matthew chapter 7, which I was reading to you, and I'll go back to it and I will reread it so now you know what I'm talking about. Do not judge, that you be not judged. In other words, do not create resistances in your body, otherwise things won't work for you. Then next, for whatever standard you judge with, you shall be judged the same, and with whatever measure you measure, it shall be measured to you the same. Meaning that if you are using a particular manner of judgment, it will come back to you. This is karma, by the way. He's talking about karma over here. Whatever karma you dish out, that karma you're going to get back. Then he goes on to say, and why do you seek the speck that is in your brother's eye? Well, he's not talking about blood brother here. He's talking about anybody, any human being on this planet Earth, that you could be like a brother. Why? Because we're all brothers and sisters, technically. I mean, think about it. Noah had 3 sons, and we, all of us, are the survivors of those 3 sons. Whatever permutation of the flood you believe in, whether you believe it happened, whether you believe it didn't happen, whether you believe it was global, whether you believe it was local, doesn't matter what you believe in with that. But if you are the originators of those 3 sons, if you belong to those 3 boys, those 3 men, then we are all brothers and sisters of humanity. All of us. So Jesus is speaking in those terminologies. His terminology has to be understood. He's saying that you're all out of humanity, you're all humanity are brothers and sisters. So, of course, cousins, maybe cousins, might be more appropriate, but a cousin is technically a brother as well. And so a cousin is a sister too. So he's saying that you hypocrite, first cast out the beam of wood out of your own eye, and then you shall be able to discern to cast out the speck out of your brother's eyes. Do not hang earrings on dogs, neither cast your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and tear ye apart. Meaning that if there's something that is true in your life and it is working for you, don't go around teaching everybody else, because they may not value what you have. And that is also true. Like there may be people here that I teach you these things and you may not value it. You may say, what the heck, what is this stupid rabbi talking about? I don't want to listen to him. I don't care about him. I'm going to do my own thing. So I'm actually casting my pearls, my pearls of wisdom, things that work, things that can generate real, wealth for you, things that generate real love for you, and real, relationships. They might be worthless to you. You might say, hey, I don't care about these things. And so I'm basically giving to people things that, people don't value. So I'm not saying I am over here, because I'm speaking to my family and I'm speaking to my students and I'm speaking to people who love me and who have admiration for me and who respect me. And I'm speaking to those people. And I know that they have practiced them. And I know that because I get testimonies from people that are doing these things and receiving the benefit and the blessings in their lives. So I'm glad to teach it. So definitely not speaking about people here who think otherwise. But what I'm saying is Jesus of Nazareth was speaking in those terms where he said, look, if you have something valuable, be careful who you teach it to, because they may not value it. And so that's basically what it means, trampling underfoot, knowledge, information, things. You could go to church, and some of you have, and some of you have gone to churches for, 10 years of your life, maybe longer. And what did you get out of it? A duck's egg, if you're lucky. A duck's egg, if you went to church, you got nothing out of it. Some of you have been praying for years and years and years, got no prayers answered. Why? Because the method was wrong. So we have to ask the question, where lies the truth? Other than the Easter egg, of course. Easter egg might have some truth in it, even though it might be hot air. So having said that, it is very important to understand that we want to practice, we want to execute things that work, and they can generate love in your life. Maybe they can generate prosperity in your life and blessings in your life. Look, if you're a married person, man or a woman, and you go to church, and a lot of the times there's conflict in the home because the husband may not approve of the wife going to church because nothing ever changes. Okay, you probably heard that. Nothing ever changes. What the hell are you going to church for? Wasting your time. And the husband is right. The husband is right that if nothing ever changes, why go to a church? But if the wife can prove to the husband that, no, honey, I went to church last week and I prayed for such and such and it came to pass, then the husband can, close his mouth and say, well, okay, then this one thing came true. So my point is this, that a lot of the times, so you may ask the question, hey, how come when people go to church and sometimes their prayer gets answered? How come that time their prayer got answered and the next time it didn't get answered? So how do we answer that? Very easy. Very easy. Sometimes the method they apply works because they're applying the method correctly. So let me give you an example. 3 people sit together and they call it a prayer meeting. And so all 3 of them are believing something, like for healing. Let's say they're saying that Joe is ill and Lord God, we see Joe healed. So they keep saying that in a meeting, we see Joe healed, and thank you, Lord, and thank you, we see him healed, and Joe gets healed after a week. And boom, you say, oh, what a miracle, Joe got healed. Well, what you don't realize is the method was correct. What is the method? It was in the present tense. They believed that Joe is healed, and they saw it healed. They saw in their imagination that Joe is healed. The method was correct. What worked wasn't the church prayer. What worked was a method. So that's why one time it works and one time it doesn't work. Next time they do it and the method is not correct and it don't work, and so they go away with nothing. So hit and miss. So, but what if you had a method that always worked? Then you wouldn't be seeking, three prayer partners with you. You'll be your own prayer partner. You'll sit down, and maybe the only prayer partner will be your wife or your husband. If that. And you don't even need your wife or husband as a prayer partner. You can do it yourself. And what is prayer? Remember what I told you, what is prayer? Prayer is imagination. Every time you read in the Bible, pray, imagination is the key. That is what it's talking about. And once you apply, you receive. This is amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. So, you can shift a mountain. Isn't that what Jesus taught? You can shift a mountain by belief. What does belief mean? See, belief is kind of cloaked in this airy-fairy concept, is a spiritual concept, but it's actually not. It's actually not. Belief simply means application. When we misapply the words in Scripture, we misapply everything in our life. But when you apply the words correctly, you reap the rewards. And so, with my experience in this life, is that application is key. If you apply, belief means application. If you make the application, you will receive whatever it is that you're executing it for. So, Jesus goes and says, ask and it shall be given you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened to you. Very, very simply, he's talking about write your affirmation. He's talking about or speaking your affirmation in the air. Speaking your affirmation, meaning ask. Ask could also be write. And it shall be given you. Seek and you shall find. What seek? Now, in terms of seek, put down there imagination. Imaginate or imagine. That means knocking. Knocking where? Knocking to the internal kingdom. You're asking the internal kingdom. You're asking God within you. And when you're asking God within you, guess who's going to give it to you? God, of course. So, Jesus' words are true, not because he is whatever Christians tell you, not because of that, but he picked up a principle from the Torah and is giving you a principle right out of the Torah. That wherever your feet, what does the Torah tell you? The Torah uses a different template model. The Torah says, wherever your feet will go, and you will receive that. Wherever your feet, whatever your feet travel. Well, it's my feet are not going to travel to Alaska, are they? My feet may not travel to Norway or some other country. So how can I receive something in Norway? How can I receive something in Alaska? My imagination will travel. That's what that Torah phrase means. So the same way, Jesus has used a different set of words. The result is the same and the meaning is the same. So that's the principle behind it. So you got to, and so there is a method to the madness. You got to apply the method. Now, we do see in the Parsha this week, Achre Mot, and in this particular Parsha, it was speaking about, after Aaron's son's death. In other words, if you remember, they, lit a fire that wasn't permitted, and God executed them on the spot. And so when God executed them on the spot, it was really an example to Israel not to do the wrong thing, and not to just come in any time they like. And I can probably go to the Parsha, and I can probably read you the Parsha. Let me just go there. And so if I can find it in my Bible, then I can get to it, because right now I'm in the pages of the New Testament. So I have to go to the book of Vaikra, I believe. with the var balak, that's too far away. Let's see. Here we are, the book of Vayikra, Leviticus, and we are somewhere. Where are we? Looks like my chapter is missing. Well, chapter is there, but my title is missing. I'll find it in a second. Vayikra, and let's see. Let me locate it for myself. Parshas 29. Let me do a scan of that. Vayikra chapter 16. Okay, so we go to Leviticus chapter 16. Okay, where are you? Chapter 16. Here it is. Chapter 16. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe after the death of the two sons of Aaron, when they drew near before Yahweh and died. And Yahweh said to Moshe, speak to Aaron your brother, that he come not at all times into the holy place, within the veil, before the lid of atonement that was upon the ark, that he die not, for I will appear in the cloud upon the lid of atonement that was upon the ark. Thus shall Aaron come into the holy place with a young bullock for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering. Okay, so let's look at the philosophical meaning behind verse 2. And Yahweh said to Moshe, speak to Aaron your brother, that he come not at all times into the holy place, within which the veil before the lid of atonement. Okay, where is the holy place, technically speaking? Okay, so at one time, we know at one time the holy place was at a particular location. At one time. But today, that holy place is within where? Anybody wants to take a shot at the answer? You probably already know this without me even telling you. The holy place today is within you. Is within your mindset. So, what does God say here? It gives you a real good clue. Don't come at any time. What does that mean? Don't just turn up whenever you feel like it, you know. Don't just come whenever you feel like it. Oh, God's going to answer me so I can go anytime and dress as whatever I like. So in other words, there is a method. So God is telling you there is a method and there is a reason that you come at a particular time. This is why I was saying to you, remember what I said to you, get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Then you come before God. Then God will hear you. Now, by the way, just for your information, I get up at 4:30 in the morning to come before God. Sometimes I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, because those times in the morning are excellent times for coming before God and coming to the holy place, because God is a lot more attentive at that time of the morning. Now, you may ask me, why is God more attentive at 4 o'clock in the morning or 4:30 opposed to, 9 o'clock in the morning? Why is God less attentive? Well, since I'm not God, I definitely cannot answer that question. But I can give you an opinion, but I think I will refrain from opinion as well. But I will tell you that if you half attempted to come in the morning, anywhere between between 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., if you attempted to come before God at those times, your manifestations will have much more power to come to fruition. Now, I know it will be hard for some people to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Some people struggle to get up at 5, and I do understand that point. So this is why you have to do meditation at other times to bring your mind to a calm state. One reason I believe is your mind is at a much more calm state in the morning, and it hasn't got all that clutter that you build up during the day. Like if you came later in the day, got a lot of clutter in your mind. So you have to clear that clutter. Through meditation, you have to calm your mind down. You have to come to a point where you can actually interact with God better. Hence why the results are different at different times of the day. So I would suggest that you always try to come up early in the morning before God and do your imagination scenes early in the morning. If you can do those early in the morning, those times I gave you, then you will find it will reap much more powerful results. Now, let me say this, that you can write an affirmation. If you're having difficulty waking up in the morning, you can write an affirmation for it, and you will not have difficulty. So what could be an affirmation for the morning? Very easy. Waking up early is easy for me. It's simple as that. Waking up early is easy for me. That's an affirmation, by the way. If you write that affirmation and you read it, then waking up early will become a easy thing for you. So the affirmation is, waking up early is easy for me. You will no longer have difficulty waking up, by the way. And anything you struggle with, just write an affirmation for it, and it will work for you. Now, I can give you some results of the quit smoking audio. I made a quit smoking. It was a audio meditation for somebody, and they are using it. And the result they gave me last week was that it is working for them. It is working for them. They no longer have the desire to smoke, and they are giving up smoking. And before you know it, it will be gone. So that's been a great result on that one. So my point is this, that if some of you are struggling to wake up in the morning, then apply that technique. Put that affirmation down. Waking up early is easy for me. And then you will read that a few times daily, and then you will start waking up early. And I can tell you that the other pillow technique I gave you, I think I may have given you a pillow technique a few weeks ago, that when you go to sleep at night, you tell your pillow that wake me up at whatever time you're waking up. You say to your pillow, wake me up at 4 o'clock, or wake me up at 4:30. Then you'll wake up at 4:30. So that's the pillow talk. Now, those of you who were looking for spouses, so I told you what to do is that you say good night to your spouse at night. Because you may know who your spouse is, or you may not know who your spouse is. But if you know who your spouse is going to be, like for instance, there's somebody that you like and you are getting into a relationship with them, then just say to your spouse at night, which is, imagine that your spouse is in the same bed as you, and kiss her good night. And absolutely, Rabbi Kefa, wear a ring, wear a little band, a $10 band. Get a $10 band, wear it on your right hand, and consider yourself married to that person, provided they are eligible single person. Consider yourself married with them, and you can have that spouse. That's, by the way, teaching comes straight out of Scripture, or the Book of Solomon's, Song of Solomon's. It speaks about that I beheld my lover at night, and I got my lover. So you don't need to get a license for that. You just need to have the belief and the practice, and the wife will come. So this is very, very easy. It's very simple. It's not hard. It's been proven many times over, and some of my students have already proven it. So therefore it works. So I can teach you this with great effectiveness that it works. Having said that, all of the methods I speak about work. All of them work. Now, luxury class, your license will follow. Miracles follow. Isn't that what Jesus said? Miracles follow. Meaning that once you apply the method, the result will follow. So miracles will always follow. What is miracles? Miracles are manifestations of your life. Miracles are things that you desire, so they will follow. Once you believe, once you apply, miracle, meaning the manifestation, will follow you, will come to pass. So get to work, apply it, and it will follow through with it. So remember what I just told you earlier, that if we are struggling, and do not say, I want to have. Never say it like that. That's a lack belief. That's a negative belief. I want to have. And most people in the world today, what do they say? I want to have this. I would like to have this. I would like to have that. That's what you get a lot of negative programming from your parents. So you can thank your parents for teaching you negative things. So now you've got to come out of the negative programming and come into positive programming. Positive programming is what you're learning here. Positive programming is always not I would like to. It will be I am. I have. That is positive programming. So when you're positively programming your mind, I have a car, opposed to I would like to have a car, you will get a car. A car will be provided for you. Timing is not the issue. A seed that is planted can have different gestation periods. Just like a baby is going to take 9 months. So a seed that you plant in your mind, in your subconscious, that you connect with God, can come and gestate and can come at different times. Every seed has different gestation periods. No two seeds are alike. So therefore you shouldn't worry about timing. Something can happen in 1 week, something can happen in a month, something can take place in 6 months, something can take place in 6 years, depending how complex your manifestation or your desire is. So everything is possible. If you said to me, Rabbi, I'd like to be the President of the United States, then yes, that is possible. If you believe in it and you persist in it, you can be the President of the United States. How it happens is not your concern. But it can happen. It will happen if you put your belief into it. And how the different parts come together, it will all work. But the thing is, it may be a complex manifestation, but it will work. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Rabbi Kefa. Have a great Shabbat, great week ahead. Shabbat Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.
If I could be heard, can I get a 1? Hakohen, you made some key points. I'd like to welcome all the new people to the room. Maybe this is your first, second, third time here, and whatever, but I'd like to welcome you to the family. And, this is a really open door policy. Stop for your responses. I'm so excited that I can be heard this day, on this marvelous, great day. Baruch Hashem, this wonderful day, the Shabbat. And depending on where you are, your Shabbat may be finished, but, great 6 days of labor ahead for you as well. I'd like to piggyback off what Hakohen was saying. I mean, he made some key points that, I'm looking really at this. And one of the things I'd like to discuss that he brought up, and I'm going to title this part just like it's the Abraham effect. Now, I want you to look at the Abraham open door policy. You know our forefather Abraham had his doors open to everyone, correct? Put up and see if you understand it, because I really want you all to understand this point and really, peel away at the layers of the onion per se. We're going to peel away and get to the core of the onion. Without for your responses. Now, I want you to parallel this and show you the same pattern that we see today in 2020, May the 2nd today. Now look at what Hakohen is doing. I want you to see the same Abraham open door policy effect. Now Abraham had his door open to everyone. Now, what was Abraham doing with his doors open to everyone? Can anybody tell me what was going on? What was the purpose of Abraham opening his doors to everyone? Can anybody tell me? Off the cuff of what you understand and how you see it and what revelation that has been revealed to you. Why would Abraham have his doors open to any Joe Blog, if your name is Joe, no offense, or any Jane Doe, if your name is Jane, no offense? But why? Why have your doors open to anybody, la-di-da? Now, let's look at this. Some of you thinking, get your thinking caps on this Shabbat, this great day. Now, what I want you to understand is that his doors was open to feed people. Not only to feed people, maybe people want to come there and get a little rest, they look tired, but the goal is to feed them. He wanted to put some food in his stomach. Literally, food in his stomach. You understand what I'm saying? So, maybe some people come in and they don't like Abraham's food, so they leave. Maybe some people come in and they really enjoy the meal, and their whole motive is just to come and get the meal and get out, and not to really hold a conversation. But what I want you to understand is that Abraham, having his doors open, was all about a relationship. He was trying to establish a relationship with his brothers and sisters, right? Think about it for a minute. He was trying to establish a relationship with all of the God-man, all of humanity, Baruch Hashem, however you want to say it. Do you see that? I truly want you to see this, the Abraham open door policy effect, and how that pattern is paralleling today in 2020. I want you to understand that. So the same thing is happening on YouTube today. As I told you in his lecture, well, I have all these lectures. I'm saying all these things to the family, yes, because he's beloved of the family loves him as well. We're a family. But also to anybody that would come that would come through. And just so happened to click, just like some people come through and clicked on this Power Talk room for the first time, and they're here. If that's you, please say acknowledge. Like, yeah, I clicked on this room. I came through randomly, and I just clicked on this room, and I see this room is open. It's open to a policy, and I just came on in. Baruch Hashem. And now I'm here. And I was welcomed with open arms, and so be it. The same thing is happening on YouTube. When this recording is going to be placed on YouTube, some people are going to come through and just, randomly make click or just maybe inquisitive and wanting to discover new things, like I'm learning with my son, Nakshan, who's 7 months, Baruch Hashem. He's discovering things. Everything is a discovery to him. And just like some folks will come through YouTube and discover, the lecture that's been recorded. We record all the lectures. And they may listen to it. They may listen to half of it. They may listen to all of it to completion. Maybe they'll listen to a portion of it and may not like it. The same thing that we see with Abraham. And I know some people came through Abrahamic-Faith, Abraham's house, and maybe they didn't like the food. Or they complained about how it tasted. Or they complained that it was too spicy. Or they complained that the bread didn't taste the way Mama made it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the doors are open. So people are going to come through. People are going to listen. And they may not get the fullness of the 7-course meal, full-course meal. And they may just be coming through with an agenda just to fill their bellies and to accept the free offer. Because at the end of the day, the statement I made about Mercedes, if a man comes up to me tomorrow and hands me keys to, a C-class Mercedes or a CLA, class Mercedes, CLS class Mercedes, I'm going to say thank you very much and take it gladly. Why? It's because just like I said, I've been putting in the work. I've been doing the work. I don't care how the Mercedes come. I've been doing the work. So I'm expecting that Mercedes. The Mercedes is already here. So how it comes, I really don't care at the end of the day how it comes. Do you get it? And so I want your focus for your desires and your wants and dreams. Yeah, you can envision it happening this way. I don't care how it comes in. It's here, and I'm going to gladly accept it. Why? It's because I've been putting in the work for this miracle. This miracle has been worked on. You know what I mean? Some miracles, you have to marinate them for a while. Maybe use a lot of M words today. And you may have to sit and let them marinate, let them get a little tender to where when you do get it, it's going to fall off the bone, Baruch Hashem. While others will come in very quickly. Other miracles, other desires that you want. And at the end of the day, what is a miracle? How can we give us a great analogy of what a miracle is on the foundation of a miracle? A miracle is just your desires being met. A miracle is your desires being met. And then it's on to the next desire, right? It's on to the next thing, the next dream, the next want, the next, no, you don't really want it, right? Because I hear that at Walmart a lot. You hear children, you hear children in the toy section. You hear it all the time, go to Walmart. Oh, Mama, I want that toy. How many of you know what I'm talking about? As children of Israel, you have to not have that mentality of thinking the same way. That's been conditioned to it. You go to the children and say, hey, Mama, I want that toy. Hey, Dad, I want that toy. Or you hear some say, hey, Dad, can I have that toy? But have you ever heard a child say, hey, I have that toy, Dad. I have that bike. I have that G.I. Joe action figure with the Kung Fu chop. I have it. No, you don't have it. You see, so again, you're right, Hakoin. That's truly right for us in the West. We've been conditioned to think negative. So our thinking has to change, children of Israel. How many of you in this room will consider yourself a child of Israel? Your thinking is going to have to change. Because over time, you've been taught to think a certain way. And that way was wrong. So now that you're on the path, children of Israel, we have to begin to be taught how to think in another way. Think free. Think freedom and not restriction. Because wanting is restricting. Hoping is restricting. And dare I say, believing and how you've been taught is restricting. How many of you can agree with that statement? For what you've been taught in the nation that you're in, to believe is totally different than what the son of Aaron is teaching the children of Israel how to think, how to believe. I remember as a Christian, and I go to Christian homes, and I see it all the time. They have it on placards. And I know a lot of you that have friends, family members, and loved ones that are Christians and Catholics, you'll see it throughout the whole house. they'll have signs that say believe. How many of you seen that? You have friends, you go to the house, you see they have this sign, oh, believe. Believe. They'll put it on the wall. Believe. But their concept of belief is totally flawed. And it's totally misconstrued to where they have the sign, but there's no evidence behind it. There's no energy behind the sign. It's just a great sign. Belief is a great thing when you understand what belief really is, and how to use it and put it into practice. Like our Queen always says, do the work. You see, when you do the work, it doesn't matter. You see, I already know the Mercedes is there because it's there. I already know the Land Rover, Land Cruiser is there. I don't know why I want the Land Rover, because it's there. Now, how it comes in, who cares? I can give a flying clue how it comes in. If Jeff Bezos want to drop it from one of the big drones that he has, so be it. So be it. Same way with the new house, same way with the relationship. So do you see this parallel in why we leave the room open? Do you see why we have the room open? And the lectures are open for the whole world to come in and click and listen in to the recording. Do you see why? That, yes, it's exclusive, but it's also inclusive to all. We've talked about this many times here in this forum. So it's very important that you understand that. Is that we as the children of Israel, yeah, we exclusive people, but we're inclusive to all. Just like we welcome, where's the woman? The woman that says she's from Austria, I think? You're welcome here. Because we're inclusive to all, yet we're an exclusive family. We're Israel. We're the descendants of the family of Jacob, Baruch Hashem. We're a special people. Baruch Hashem, and I don't say that in being haughty, but I just, state the facts. We're a special people. So it's very important that we do understand that. For all the other new persons that have not been here for a while, you can go back and listen to the recordings if you like, because just like Abraham's doors were open, so the recordings, so the YouTube stream is open for you to do so. To listen to the recording. If you like it, so be it. If you don't, so be it. But they're there. The food is there for you to intake and ingest. This is spiritual food. This is food. This is, I would call it soul food, because it literally gets into your soul, to that self. And so I see the connection between Abraham's doors being open in the past, to where in 2020 Abraham's doors have never closed. Do you see it? So that's that side of it. Now I want to talk about another side that I think is very important for us to understand. As we talk about, and there may be some power to this, we may need to look at this, because I'm seeing evidence in a lot of people's lives that it normally happens this way. And that's the pattern that we see in our history, in our books, in our ancient books. So when we go back to Bereshit, in our ancient books, what came first, money or relationship? Let's look at that. Think about that for a minute. As you all want to meet your desires and your wants, yes, Hakohen, you're absolutely right. I 100% agree with you. And how many in this room would agree as well? Is that your relationships manifest before any other material thing? Think about this for a minute. How many of you will agree with that? That when you wanted something, that your relationships manifested first? Can anybody sit here and sympathize and empathize with me on that point? Is that the relationship came? Now, there's something to that. I'm telling you, this may be one of the, it's a code that we're breaking the code. We're code breakers here. We're coming into some mysteries. Is that, I tell you, in my life, the relationship manifested first. Before, the money came in. Now, let me tell you, here's another golden nugget. Is that when I established the relationship, the wealth, the monetary came with the relationship. How many of you understand what I'm saying? It's like the treasure, and Hakohen has taught about this on many different levels, on a rabbinic level and to student level, family level as well. There is a secret, a mystery. It's almost like magic. And I don't know why the word for me this weekend. I guess I was watching this Kung Fu movie. And this man, he was going, his desire was to fulfill a promise that he made as a young child. And one of the things was that he wouldn't talk until he would stay mute. And in Chinese movies, they do this a lot. I don't even know the Chinese movies. They'll stay mute until until they meet their desire, until they fulfill their goal or their task. So this guy, he didn't talk the whole movie until he finally met his goal, and then he began to talk. But anyway, they begin to call this guy the magic man. There's a magic to this. How many of you know to perfect law, it's like a magic. So if you've been conditioned to think magic was evil, I would encourage you to drop that baggage like a hot potato. Leave that baggage at the train station when you get on the train for your journey. Because I tell you, excuse me, how many of you agree with me that meeting your desires is almost like magic? It's a miracle. It's magic. It's like magic. And people around you will see like, wow, how did you do it? That's like magic. And some people even tell you, wow, that's what you see, what you said would happen, happened. And it was like magic. And the Master Yeshua walked the earth. And he had a lot of followers. Why did he have a lot of followers? Because they saw what he did. And some didn't even see. They heard what he did and wanted to see it for themselves. Like magic. Like magnetic. What is it? The laws of what? The perfect law is it's an attraction. Like a magnet. Like magic. It just comes to you. Boom. So when you look at relationships, I'm telling you all, if you don't have a relationship first, and you may be looking at other desires, I would tell you to get the relationship first. Why? It's because we're told in our books, in the book of Bereshit, in the book of the beginnings, was to establish what? A relationship. Are we not told that in our history? The Master Yahweh saw that Adam had become alone. And he said what? It is not good for Adam to be alone. Oh, there's something to that. So when you establish the relationship, it's almost like it opens up doors that you don't have. And you can read it in our, the opinions of the rabbis, in our Talmud, and you can read, in our Mishnah that men say, the rabbis say that a man is only half of a man until he marries. How many of you think there's credence to that? That a man he's not even a full man. He's like just half. He's like half of a man. I tell you, in the black and brown culture, they like to call their mate. How many of you heard black and brown culture? They call their mate the significant other. They say my rib. They say, yeah, I'm going home to my rib. Anybody ever heard that terminology before? And I'm not talking about the ribs that you eat, the beef ribs that you get at your local grocery. But I'm talking about, they're talking about this spot. Anybody ever heard it? Yeah, I got to go. My rib told me to get home by 7:30 tonight because she's going to have something cooked for me. They'll say, my rib. You see my rib, my side, you come from a side. You right with me. So until you get your other side, that rib, you see, then you can be complete or whole. And just like we're told in our books, to where the two become what? They become one. So if you don't have the two, can you be one? This is almost like some reverse math, isn't it? But think about it. If you don't have the two, can you be one? Think about that for a minute. See, this is why I firmly believe relationship manifestation comes in quicker. Why? Is because I see it as relationship is more important. And once you establish the relationship, it opens the wealth of the universes to you. And black holes and galaxies as well, besides this earth. You understand what I'm saying? How many of you right now are just like half? Put up a half if you say, hey, that's me. I'm a half right now. And yet, you see, it's important that we understand this is an important spiritual and just family principle. Is that, oh, great, so we don't have no halves. That's great. So all of you are one. You're complete because you're whole. Now that you have the relationship side taken care of, and if you don't be shy to put up if you just have, because that's okay. It's okay. We're family here. If you can't be open with the family, who can you be open with? We're family here. So if you just have, enough of that. So if you just have, consider this. Look to becoming whole, where the two come together and they become one flesh. Baruch Hashem. And then you'll begin to see, like, it's going to almost be easier to meet those other axillary desires, wishes that you want to bring in and manifest and attract, because now you're complete. You're one. You're one. Shema Yisrael. You see, you become one. You don't become half. And I'm telling you, as I look at my personal life, the relationship came first. And just like a Kohen said, because I was taking guidance from my Kohen back then when I was trying to establish my relationship. When I was establishing my relationship, not trying, I was doing it. I was putting in the work. And now my work has manifested in the miracle that's here. And now we have another miracle, and now we have a 7-month-old son now. Baruch Hashem. So everything in the relationship, and that's a story in itself. Getting that's a miracle in itself. And I'm going to write a book on it one day. Because my wife comes out of communist China. Baruch Hashem. Getting her out of China is a miracle in itself. But again, because I put in the work, see, I look at the miracle now, it's like, to me it's almost like, that's for putting in the work. It's not like, wow, it's like, I'm happy that it happened, but I knew it was already going to happen before it happened. So, you know what I mean? So it's like, it becomes common to me. You see what I'm saying? While everybody else around me are like, how the hell did that happen? How did you do that? They see it as magic. Other folks around me maybe see it as magic. Or they may see it as strange, like, how come you, and I get this all the time, how come you just couldn't get a woman right here in America? Because that wasn't my desire, to get a woman in America. You understand what I'm saying? Well, it would have been easier, well, not after easy. How many of you in this room are after easy? I give two hoots about easy. Easy, hard, it doesn't mean a hill of beans to me. Because when you desire something, and when you can visualize and you see what you had before you already have it, because yes, I was the one wearing the wedding band before my wife was even here. I was the one kissing my wife, telling my wife good night while she was in China and I'm in America. That was real. That's real. So now when she's here, it's real. I kiss her good night. I have the band on because it is real. She's here from communist China. She's in America. And do you know, they kind of ramped up immigration now. How many of you noticed that? Not only with communist China, but with the rest of the world. We're kind of closing the doors off a little bit. Make it a little bit more difficult to get in. So do you see? My wife came, I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you, timing, it doesn't mean anything. Because when the miracle and the magic and the attraction, the magnet lines up, you become unstoppable. Nothing can stop what you are manifesting, what you are bringing in for yourself. No immigration laws, no, wars between nations, rumors of wars between, none of that can stop it. We are unstoppable, Mishpah, I'm telling you. But again, establish your relationship first. Any manifestations that deal with relationship, those are going to come in a lot quicker. And then you're going to find is that the relationship opens up the treasures to all these other things like monetary. I'm telling you it does. It opens up the treasures to relation, to monetary, material things that you want, material things that you desire for yourself, material things that you have, that you see for yourself. They'll come in later. But first and foremost, you're going to want to look at your relationship side and ask yourself this question. Am I happy in my relations? And if not, desire and aspire and affirm to fix those areas first. Because it's almost like you come in on a broken wheel. And if you start asking for like monetary things, material things, and yet your relationship side is not fixed, it's almost like you're going to work, you're on a broken wheel instead of a wheel that has the right amount of pressure in it. Is Rabbi Zakaria in the room? Rabbi Zakaria, are you in the room? Yeah, he's here. Rabbi Zakaria, if you can, what is the optimal pressure, tire pressure for the average car? Because I know, different style cars, it may vary. But when you have that particular pressure, the tire pressure, the air in each tire, okay, you say 36. To top of that, Rabbi Zakaria. So when you get that relationship side taken care of, it's like you're operating when your tire is at PSI of 36, baby. But when you want to get into all these other things and you neglect or you forsake the relationship side, then you're like zero pressure. You're riding on the spare. That's what I called the other day. It was riding on 2 spares. I'm like, my goodness, you need to start to manifest new tires for your car. He was riding on 2 spares. Yet he was still getting around, though. But it was kind of awkward and was a little bit difficult. You know what I mean? So, again, it's very, very important that I'm telling you, there's a secret. This is, there's a secret to this. Fix your relationship side first. It's going to be easier to fix. And once the relationship side is fixed, the world is your 6-piece Popeye chicken. The world is your oyster. Because we don't eat oysters, that's why I went to Popeye's chicken. The world is your beef, your rack of beef ribs. It becomes your world. You understand what I'm saying? I hope you all are with me this day. I don't hope, my desire is that all of you are with me today, because there's something to this. I'm telling you, the relationship side will be fixed first. And then it will usher in all those other avenues. And it may even open up those other avenues for you. Monetary avenues. I'm going to tell you, marrying my wife has opened up many, many monetary avenues that I didn't have before. Really, monetary avenues and material avenues as well. It's because now I physically have a house in China. How many of you can say that? So again, believe me, that's a great asset to have. House in China? How many of you know how much houses cost in China? It's not like a house that we have. They live in like the Jeffersons and like these apartment building complexes, and they're very expensive. Because, real estate is a premium over there. And they just have, when you're dealing with a country with over 1 billion people, then, real estate becomes a premium. So they have to build up. So I want you all to examine these factors. Is that look at fixing the relationship side. When you look at your list, if there's anything relationship on that, I would encourage you to put your focus on that. Divert your energy towards that side. Those will come in quick, believe me. They will come in quicker than quick, and then you'll be able to deal with all the other aspects of your list that you have. You'll see it. And matter of fact, when you fix the relationship side, it's gonna boost. You're gonna get a turbo boost in all those other areas that you want to deal with on your list. You guys with me this morning, this evening, this afternoon? There's something to the relationship side. There's something big to it. There's something great to that. Now, if you don't have any relationship areas, in a relationship, it could be man or woman. It could be a relationship with your mother and your father that needs mending. It could be on many different levels, because I tell you, if you don't have a good relationship with your mother and your father, that can hinder you. I'm going to let you know that right now. Many of you know, in our history, in our way of living as Jews, is that we need to have great relations with our mother and our father. How many of you understand that? That's mandated in our history, in our books. How many of you understand, put up a capital R, if you understand that you need to have a great relation with your mother and your father? Now, in the East, it's not so much more so, because they really do honor their mother and their father. But let me tell you, in the West, in the Wild Wild West over here, sometimes we have problems with respecting our mother and our father. How many of you would agree with me with that? That's an area in the West that we need to improve on. Is our relationship with our mother and our father. Because, we disrespect our mother and father. These things are unheard of in the East. They would never do that. Because they always want to save face with their mother and their father. That's the way it should be. But in the West, I've seen children cuss out their mother and father. I've seen children hit their mother and father. Literally put a hand on her. I'm like, my goodness, what is this? What is this? Now, Hakoyin could probably tell us because he's been on both sides of the pond. The statement that I'm making, Hakoyin, is that pretty much spot on? Is that in the West over here, they kind of lack a respect for your mother and your father. And that needs to be mended if you don't have that. You're trying to affirm all these other things and get all these other desires. The universe isn't going to hold you up. It's because of your relationship that you have with your mother and your father is subpar, much less par, when it should be great. You see, to Hakoyin, he's saying, yes, that's true, Kefa. That's true. But in the East, I tell you, they lift up and they raise up their mother and their father, and they put them in a place of God and goddess, where they need to be. And they honor and they love them. While in the West, my goodness, what this old person going to tell me what to do? How you going to tell me, man, my goodness, you come for their loins. If not anything, respect them for that. Have respect and honor for that. And now, Parsha Kedoshim, which is actually connected to this Parsha, the Jews have it as a double Parsha, is that the Master talks about this. The Master Yahweh talks about this. Let's go there for a minute because this is key. This is key. And I'll also give us another affirmation that we can add. That you can add to your list and you can affirm this. And I want you all to affirm this, family, children of Israel, because the Christians are already affirming it. Look at Leviticus chapter 19, verses 1 and 2. And again, I read from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. If you don't have that Bible, please get this Bible and add it to your library, add it to your studies and your Bible studies. It'll really enhance and really give you great understanding. Listen, look at Leviticus chapter 19, verses 1 and 2 from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, to Moses, to Musa, saying, speak to all the congregation of the children of Israel, and say to them, you shall be holy, for I, Yahweh, your power, am holy. So, affirm what? This is what you affirm. You say, what do I need to affirm, Rabbi Kefa? How many of you already have the affirmation to affirm, I am holy? How many of you have that? Man, Christians tell me that every day. I hear that all the time from the Christians. How many of you have any affirmations right now? I am holy. I am holy. I am holy. If you don't, affirm that one. Add that one to your list right now. Add it to your list. If you don't have that, you need to be saying this every day. I am holy, because you are. You're the children of Israel. You're the congregation of the children of Israel. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 1. I am holy. Well, actually, verse 2. I am holy. I am holy. I am holy. You got it? I am holy. And I don't mean because you're wearing these popular jeans today. My daughter put on this jacket the other day. The jacket got all kind of holes in it, like they took scissors to it. And that's popular. She's like, Dad, how do you like my outfit? I'm like, what outfit? You got a bunch of holes. But that's holy. It's a holy jacket and holy jeans. How many of you seen these teenagers these days walk around with these jeans with, it's like they took the scissors to them. Anybody seen that besides myself? Is it only a San Antonio fad? I'm like, you see, it's like, and they pay like, they circulated $50, $60 for these jeans, and I go in the jeans, they have holes in them everywhere. I'm like, wait a minute. Like somebody took the scissors to them, just cut them up. I don't mean that kind of holy, you see. But I'm talking about the holiness. Now, what's this holiness we're talking about here? Not the holiness in your jeans and in your jacket, because that seems to be popular. That's a fad, is that? But we're talking about, and then it goes on, when you read on in Leviticus, it talks about one of the first things. Maybe we should go there in Abrahamic-Faith, in the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. Maybe we should go there, because it begins to talk about one of the first things is to honor your mother and your father. Show respect, and I'm paraphrasing. due diligence, kindness, and love and compassion to your mother and your father. Because you can't say, I am holy, and yet you have a terrible and miserable relationship with your father and your mother. Understand what I'm saying? You see, because it's almost like you're hypocritical. You see, Christians run around, they tell you all the time, oh, I'm holy, I'm so blessed, and I'm holier than thou, I'm holy. They say it, but there's no substance to what they say. Because just like Akoya says, they haven't put in the work. You haven't put in the work to say that you're holy. These are the same people that go home and cuss their mother and father out. But the Christians say, oh, I'm holy. These same people that may be putting hands on their mother and their father. Literally. Slapping them down. You don't talk to me that way. Well, your mother and father can talk to you any way they want to because, listen, they brought you into this world. How many of you watch movies where they say, yeah, I brought you into this world and I can take you out. I like watching those kind of movies. They put the fear of God in you because they are God. They brought you into this world, yet you disrespect them. So they have to tell you this phrase to remind you and to put you back in your place. Yeah, they may be grayed up and they may be old and wrinkled, but at the end of the day, they still your father. They still your mother. And you should always respect, honor, and lift them up into a higher place. Keep them high. Don't ever put them below you. Oh my goodness. So that right there is another form of a relationship. Not just has to do with husband and wife and the rib factor. In the same way, and even more so, I can already mention this. He's like, hey man, this is a great time to and with what's going on in today's society and what's going on with the corona, it's a great time to do some great assessing and to really, test, your children of Israel status, your holy status. You see? Your holy status. This is a great time to do that. It's because now you can show that you have a love for humanity. While everybody want to segregate, and Akorian is right, you're right as well about the prejudices that are kicking up behind all this corona. You're prejudicing, because, my wife is telling me, and again, I guard my family. I have a daughter and a wife that's from China. Chinese. And so now here in San Antonio, I'm guarding them. We don't go out because there are some knuckleheads here too. And you're seeing it in the businesses as well. How many of you like to eat Chinese food? You have a favorite Chinese restaurant in your neighborhood? Put up capital C. You say, hey, yeah, Rabbi, I have a favorite Chinese restaurant in my neighborhood. I love to eat some Chinese food. You know how blessed I am? I get to eat Chinese food every day. Every day of my life. That's a blessing, isn't it? It truly is a blessing. I get to eat Chinese food every day of my life. My wife cooks every day. But anyway, for those of you, and I'm not trying to be haughty about that, but I'm just so happy and humble that I have that. So again, for those of you who like to eat Chinese food, now listen, you may see this in your neighborhood, is that what I'm seeing here in San Antonio is they're prejudicing against the Chinese restaurants. So what's happening is that the conditioning, the thinking here in the San Antonio is that, if I go eat at that Chinese restaurant, I'm going to get the coronavirus. I'm going to get the Wuhan coronavirus because I go eat it. You see what I mean? Now, they may be doing it in ignorance or out of fear or just, because they say, well, they're Chinese, so they have the virus, like I already mentioned. Also, they have the virus too, so we cannot go and give business to this particular organization, this particular restaurant that I love to eat at, that I was eating at before Corona even was a sperm count. The coronavirus was a sperm count. I was eating at that Chinese restaurant, and I love to eat there. And my family, it was a ritual. We'd go eat there every Friday night or blah blah blah, whatever. We had my first date at that Chinese restaurant. Well, now people are not. Now, believe me, Texas is open now. Texas is now open. We're open for business. I mean, I was out yesterday. I was like, my goodness, look at all these places that are open now. We're open for business. And a lot more cars. We're getting back to work. Getting back to doing the work, Group of Shem. San Antonio's opened up, man. I'm telling you. So And I'm noticing, I was like, wow, this Chinese restaurant isn't open. This Chinese restaurant isn't open. A lot of them are going to go out of business because, people don't want to go and patronize these businesses and put money into their pockets. Because they think, oh, you're Chinese, so you have the Wuhan. So do you see how this can happen? So there's prejudices going on. I would consider that financial prejudice. You see, your prejudice again, and so it affects the finances. Because these Chinese people that are here are more American than probably Americans are. They've been here many, many years, well established. And just because a virus that originated, supposedly in China, what they're telling you, then every Chinese has it. Do you see how conditioning, do you see how it can affect you? I'm just giving you an example of just how it can affect you. Now, let's look at China, because a lot of you don't know what's going on behind the scenes in China. Well, guess what? The Wuhan people that reside in Wuhan, well, guess what? In China, they're being discriminated against. So they want to go out and travel and play in other cities. They want to go to Shanghai. They want to go to Beijing. Well, guess what? They're being refused. Oh, you're from Wuhan. Get out of here. You have the Wuhan virus because you're from Wuhan. Can you believe that? So there's many different levels of prejudices going on all over the world. You see what I'm saying? Now, it could be out of fear. It could be because people are just out of ignorance. They just don't know any better. It could be out of arrogance. It could be out of fear. It just could be just out of ignorance because they just don't know. But do you see how this can happen? So there's many different. So again, what am I just describing? Relationships gone bad, right? Everything at the end of the day boils down to a relationship. And what's your standing in that relationship? And as the family of Jacob, we should have a higher standard in our relationship. And I would encourage you all, even if you have to go through the drive-thru, is still go and support and patronize your local Chinese restaurant. You understand what I'm saying? And I know probably you're like, Rabbi, you're speaking to the wall because I'm already doing that. Go out and support the local businesses now, because believe me, they're hurting. And now the government said there's not going to be another PPP. No more PPP. No more Paycheck Protection Plan. Now these businesses are going to either stand up or fall or fold. You're going to either stand up or you're going to fold. That's what's going to go on right now. And what is all that based on? It's based on you or I. Because you know what? I don't know about other countries, but 70% of the economy is based on consumer spending. So that's why I'm telling you. Rabbi Kefa's telling you to go out and support and patronize your local business now. Go out and put some money, spend some money on them, circulate. I've already talked about that. Circulation is key. I tell you, one of the Chinese restaurants here in town, very popular one, Lee's. My wife loves it. She says it's the best restaurant that's closest to home that you're gonna ever get to in San Antonio. It's Lee's. You know what they did? In an effort to get more people and to keep the doors open as well, is that everything on their menu they cut at half price, and they deliver to the hospitals for free. And they cut everything on their menu to half price. Isn't that amazing? And you're right, Akoin. I tell you what McDonald's did, and this is probably nationwide. But anybody in the healthcare field, if you show your medical badge, they're giving you a free meal. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you get it free on the house. Free on the house. That's what McDonald's is doing up until a certain time. I don't know. I think it's supposed to stop sometime in May. I think it's this month is supposed to stop sometime. But they're doing that. Now, do you not think, because McDonald's doing that, is that they're thinking like, okay, if we do this now, then, they're putting a better face on their business, aren't they? They're putting a better front, a better face on their business. That more people are going to go support that business. I tell you what, I'm looking at this corona, and I'm looking at businesses that stepped up to help produce ventilators or masks or whatever. I'm looking at these businesses to buy stock in. Just because they stepped up and said, okay, let me put me making money to the side for 1 minute, and let's look at the needs of the nation. It's beautiful. Some of these alcohol distilleries that quit making alcohol and started making hand sanitizer, Man, I'm going to go patronize some of their alcohol, and I don't drink beer. But I'll go buy some of their beer. You know what I mean? Oh, for sure. Rabbi Zakari said, I did $35 an hour on labor for the month of April, and we normally charge $124.95 for labor. Wow. See, that's stepping up. Now, do you not think on the backside that more people are going to think like Rabbi Kefa said, you know what? Because you guys did this for me, when the rubber hit the road, you know, when things are better and we get back to our new normal, I'm gonna support your business. I'm gonna go to that restaurant. I'm gonna go to that auto parts store. I'm gonna go to that mechanic. Because I see honesty in them, I see humility in them, and I see humanity in them. Do you see where we're going? So there's a lot of lessons, as Cody said in his lecture, that we can learn from the coronavirus and the epidemic, whatever you want to call it. A lot of great things are coming out. But one of the basic foundational things that everything that we're talking about here now is based on the relationship, isn't it? It's a relationship. Rabbi Zakari said, and we had a record month in April. Do you see that? You see that? Do you see that? So there's going to be, I'm telling you, a lot of great opportunities. And a lot of great opportunities. See, so when you look to circulate your energy, meaning your money, think about this for a minute. Remember what our colleague said. What goes around comes around. That's karma. Do you understand that your money has karmatic effects to it as well? Think about that. What goes around is going to come right back around. It's going to come right back around to you. It's energy. Everything that you do in life, associate energy with it because it has energy. Everything on lottie-dotties on this planet has energy to it. Energy in different forms, but there's energy to it. And all these people that have passed on related to the coronavirus, my condolences to their families. But they're just out of their body. Their body's dead, but their energy, they're still energy. Energy changed form. They just changed it to another form. Fukushima. So consider these things going forward, Mishpahah, children of Israel. Is to put back. Is to now begin to give back. Establish greater relationships. It's a great opportunity for us to establish greater relationships. And that brings me to the point of my lecture this day. Now remember what I told you all. Relationship happened first. So I want you all to use this Shabbat in your meditations. Look at the relationship side and see where you need to make improvement, if you need to even make any improvement. See where you can always get better. Don't think you reach a climax of relationship just like in any other. You know, just because you make some money doesn't mean you can't have more money and more money. Just because you have one house don't mean you can't have two. You know what I mean? Don't sell yourself short. You understand what I'm saying? Whatever you do, don't do that. Don't do that. Look at like this. More money, more money, more money. Exactly. Just because you have some money don't mean you can't have more money. Just because you have one great relationship don't mean you can't have 2, 3 great relationships, you see? Think about that for a minute. Keep the circulation going. Whatever happens when you stop circulation? Whatever happens when you stop circulating? You become stagnant, right? What's the best kind of water that you can drink, Mishpahah? I mean, this has physical principles to it as well as spiritual. What's the best kind of water that you can drink? Physical water, physical drinking water. Anybody know? And you'll see it advertised on water that you buy in bottled water. When majority of that water comes is just as clean as your toilet water at the end of the day. But what do they tell you on the bottle as they advertise? Or you see on TV when they advertise it for water, what do they say? Oh, it's sparkling spring water, right? Right, y'all hear one of the 10? Oh, it's sparkling spring water. You see on the bottle itself, the water bottle, the plastic bottle, they'll say, oh, you see a spring and this picture, this diagram of this water. And why is spring water so good? It's because spring water is always moving. It circulates. It circulates. Any of you come from a military background, one of the key things they tell you when you're out there in survival training is look for moving water, living water that's moving. Drink that water. Now, if push comes to shove and you got to drink that pond water, what happens? Why is pond water so just terrible to drink? Without putting your little capsules in there. Remember they give you little capsules? And you must add the capsule to your water, your pond. When you have to drink pond water before you drink it, it's because that pond water is stagnated. And it's building up all the time because it doesn't move. So if you had your choice, again, malaria pills on you quick, don't they, in the military? Take your malaria pills. If you don't want to get sick behind this, that, the other, and the third, it's because that pond water doesn't move. And actually, you see pond water start to turn green on you. You don't get no clear, spring water that you see. You take it, you imagine yourself taking your hand and you're dipping your hand into a nice cold spring water and you're feeling those rocks that you can, and you see the rocks and you can see the floor bed. And you drink that water that's cold and just delicious. And it just takes care of the body. It just meets all the needs of the body and some. And you feel rejuvenated. And then you go to the pond water. My goodness. You go to the pond water and you look at it and it detests you because it's green, it's not moving, yet it's water and you thirsty as hell. and you thirsty as hell, and and you look at it and you're like, man, do I have to drink this stuff? And you're looking at it, you're like, man, I'm trying to survive. I need to survive, so I'm going to do what I have to do. Hey, you remember watching I love to watch Star Wars. Now, in fact, they're coming out with that. Hey, if you have Disney Plus, you get to watch it for free. But they're coming out with that song on Star Wars. Well, you ever watch that episode? I forget which one it is, but the guy, the brown guy, he goes and he's thirsty as hell, and he sees this big creature drinking out of this, I guess it's the animal trough, and he's looking at it, and he's thirsty. He's been walking through the desert for a while. And what's the guy's name? I can't remember his name. But anyway, he goes to the he looks at this big old giant animal drinking from this, I guess it's the water trough for the animals. And he's like, is this all that I have to drink? And so he goes and he starts to drink the same water and he spits it out. And then he goes back in for a second spiel at it and he's drinking that water. Because that's all that he has around him. Nobody wanted to give him water. So he takes animal water, and the animal pushes it to the side, and poor guy, he's struggling. So I think it's important to understand that is that if that's all you have to drink, then you drink from that. But at the end of the day, your goal, your desire is to drink the spring water. And you can take this analogy and apply it to many different levels. You can apply it to religions as just this pond water that doesn't do anything for you. But when you run into the perfect law and you meet head on with the perfect law, you realize that the perfect law was established for all of humanity on how to live their lives. But it's based on, you begin to drink this pond water when you get the misinterpretations and misunderstandings of how the creator of all things established how we're supposed to live our lives. You begin to drink the pond water. And you find out that it doesn't taste good, and it's not good for your body, and it's not doing anything for you. And you realize that it's doing more harm than good for you at the end of the day. And so it's important that we get back to not religion, but that way of life. And do you not see nations beginning to adopt this thing by, play? Now they understand that they have to wash their hands. Now, I can speak to you for my family being in China. That was one of the key things that I'm still having to deal with my teenage daughter, is that she don't understand that you need to wash your hands a lot. She didn't have that in China. So I'm pretty sure you could take China and multiply that by many other countries as well. This is a big thing that she's still having to adapt to wash her hands before. But do I have to wash my hands after I eat too? Absolutely. But she didn't get that conditioning. You see what I mean? So there's probably a lot of other countries as well. This hand washing thing is like a new thing. But for us Jews, we've been doing that. Been there, done that. We've been washing our hands well over. So it's nothing new for us to keep our hands clean. And I'm pretty sure some of you may have done this experiment. Now, things may change going forward here, but how many of you have went to the common bathrooms in some of your restaurants, maybe some of your big shopping places, and you just sit there, and you watch people? How many people go in and out of that bathroom without washing your hands? How many of you have ever done that experience before? Experiment. To where you actually sit there and you watch how many people actually come out of the bathroom without washing their hands. That's quick. I'm like, my goodness. You see, they go handle their business and they don't wash their hands when they finish. Now, hopefully, I don't hope, but my desire is that the coronavirus changes some of that stuff in the mentality of the way an individual thinks, man. You sit there and I'm watching this. I'm sitting there at Starbucks, Target, Walmart, these big malls. So imagine if they don't wash their hands coming out of the bathroom in a common area place where there's conviction because there's other people around, they don't care. Imagine what they're doing in their homes. Think about it for a minute. So this is some of the blessings. I'm giving you a description that are going to come out of the corona. You understand what I'm saying? That's going to show. You think they're washing their hands after they use the bathroom in their home? Much less before and after they eat their food? Think about this for a minute. And not to mention the whole handshake thing. You all need to cut that out. After what I just told you, you need to be going to shake nobody's hand. I see the black and brown culture, they kind of raise their hand up a little bit. They do like that, like, what's up? Like, they do just, how many of you familiar with the head nod? You do like, yeah, what's up? Like, what's up? Or now what they're saying is, you see, y'all start doing the what's up, the head nod, like, yeah, what's up, what's up? I like to do a little Chinese bow thing. I like that. I kind of adopted that. I do put both my hands together and I kind of do a little bow. How you doing? I'll do that. Some people do. They'll take the right hand and they'll put it over the left breast and do the little tap. How many are familiar with that one? You all need to come up and be let's just say creative and come up with different ways of greeting as opposed to shaking somebody's hand going forward. Just to let you know. Cody taught on this many years ago as well. And he got a lot of flack for it, by the way. But people were like, oh, you antisocial and blah, blah, blah. And now look at him. They're like, wow. You remember, Honeybee Rose says, waving your arms in the air and screaming, it's good. That was another good one. But you all need to get creative and come up with a way. Because I'm telling you, at the end of the day, human nature is going to go and resort back to what they know and what they find is easy. Now, I'm saying all this to say this and make this point, is that people are still going to be the same way. How many of you understand what I'm talking about? Regardless, coronavirus or no virus, people are still going to be the same way. Some will change, but majority will revert right back to their, let's just say, their basic common sense. And they're going to do what they've always been doing. Because they're creatures of what? They're creatures of habit. Now, do you think this shutdown of a few months, a month or two, can change habit overnight? I submit to you not. Just like you see in California. I know there's some people in here from California. The beaches was, when the president in one of his things said, oh yeah, the sun can kill corona. And from what I understand, in California at the time they had a heat wave, or they had like something going on where it was just totally hot outside. So everybody ran to the beach. Wasn't practicing social anything, they all just went to the beach. And from what I understand, the governor had to shut down the beaches. I was like, wow. How you gonna tell somebody they cannot go to the beach? You can recommend that they can't do it, And that's a great example as you study human nature. And do you know, people say, I saw video, people still coming out to go to the beach. Because they're creatures of habit. That's what they're used to doing. California, one of the first things you think of is California, number one, Hollywood, and number two, beaches and surfing, correct? That's one of the first things I think of, and fun in the sun, much sun, your sun. And so what do you see? Is that creatures of habit are going to do what they habitually are used to doing. Regardless if they put some kind of restriction, people are still going to try to do what they've always been doing. So you can anticipate people still not want to wash their hands, people still not want to wear masks because they're not used to doing that. So what do you need to do? You need to guard yourself and your family against these things. Just like I'm guarding myself and my family against going out right now. Even though San Antonio is open, no, we're going to stay closed over here to keep us in Yahweh for a while for a number of reasons. Number one, I have a newborn, young son, 7-month-old son at home. I'm not trying to bring him out there. Number two, there's still this, you want to talk about relationship, there's still a lot of people that have this hatred towards Chinese right now. I'm feeling that energy. So guess what I'm doing? I'm sheltering and I'm protecting my family and not letting them go out because my daughter and my wife are Chinese. My son's Chinese as well. I'm not trying to bring them out in that kind of environment right now. So what do? We wait. Because there's prejudices right now going against that. All Chinese people. So again, what do? We wait. So we have to guard our families against these kind of behaviors, or these relational type behaviors that are negative. We want to keep it positive. And we want to put prejudice out the window, just totally throw it out. But you have to guard yourselves and your family against the prejudices that are stirred up because of what? Because of this plague. Boy, that's a lot of P words. But you're going to have to do that. These next couple of months going into the fall, you're going to have to do that because now you know what they're conditioning you all with? Corona's coming back in the fall. How many of you already starting to feel that conditioning? They're already bringing that energy. Yeah, you can go out now, but Corona's coming back. Hey, listen, don't fall for the hokey doke. Guess what? The flu also comes back every fall as well. And what? You know what I mean? You see what they're trying to do? They're trying to hype up something that just, it's a virus, just like the flu. If anybody didn't think it would come back in the fall, it may not come back big. It may come back even better than the flu. But you know what my desire is? My desire is that the flu levels are going to be down now because most people are going to adapt the forever ways of the Jews and wash their hands more. So that's going to bring not only the coronavirus down, but all other viruses as well, including the flu. My desire, and I'm scripting a lesser flu epidemic coming, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, this winter. Why? It's because people are going to become more social conscious and want to do what's right, not only for themselves or for their family, but just based on out of fear. Most of them just going to do it out of fear because they don't want to die. You know what I mean? So be it. Come fear a fluke. But if it's going to bring the numbers down and make people more, let's just say, hygienically satisfying, then I think that's a great thing. It's just to be clean. I want to let you know, Jews are some clean people. We clean. We like cleanliness. We like to be clean. We like our bodies to be clean, and we like clean. Now, a lot of other nations out here, they're not like that. They're not like that at all. I've seen it in China. They're just not like that. I've seen it in the Walmart in San Antonio. They're just not like that. And I can't group everybody as a nation per se, but I can say some people are just not clean within all the nations. People are just not clean. But we need to be the polar opposite of that. And we need to show and exemplify life by doing the work. And it brings me to my topic for this day, what I want to talk about. My topic is a question in question form. And I'm going to give you this question right now. The question is, what are you good at? What are you good at? What are you good at? Let's talk about you. Because before you can have a relationship with all these other relations that we're dealing with, the relationship of self is the primordial, most important relationship that I can say was neglected by myself for many, many years. Because I never thought I was supposed to love myself. I was always too busy trying to love and make sure everybody had love around me that I never got around to loving myself. But that's one of the key things, and I spent many years as I was desiring my relationship, and I see why the many years. And I used to tell myself, I see why I have this time to myself now, because I'm getting to know myself. I'm actually getting to love myself. I'm actually getting to find out about myself for a change. Because all my life, how many of you have been that way? Well, like your whole life, you're here trying to please everybody else, and you don't have time to even think about what you want or what you desire or what your dreams are or how you're going to fulfill your dreams. It's because you're trying to make everybody else happy, thus yourself is not even happy. This is why I asked you the question this day. What are you good at? And it may take some thinking. You may need to meditate on this week in your meditations. You really have to, when you're dealing with yourself, I mean, this is a self question. Now, if you want to type it in, that's good, because when you know yourself, then you know, and you can affirm that you know yourself, you know, okay, I know what I'm good at, Rabbi, I'm good at this, blah, 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 blah. What are you good at? Honey B. Rose said, I'm good at cleaning, Baruch Hashem. Anybody else, what are you really good at? I mean, really. I like to be clean too. And that's one thing that my family's still adapted to. I always, I'm a firm believer in fix it how you found it. Some of you might want to use that one. My family. Fix it how you found it. Y'all want to say I'm good at cooking. Okay, Baruch Hashem. A lot of people need to eat right now, right? Even during the coronavirus, they still needed to eat. And now people are so tired of cooking that they want to go out and eat. That's the majority. I mean, there's so many long lines. Divorces are good at making prayer rugs, cooking, poetry, Baruch Hashem. My mom used to say cleanliness is next to godliness. Oh, indeed. Good statement. Fix it how you found it. Y'all want to consider that repairing thing? Think about what you're good at. And if you can affirm it, affirm it. Because affirming is very important. How many of you know that? If you've been around the Kohen any amount of time, you'll know this, that you got it. If you know something, affirm it. And then be it. Do it. And then do the work. Affirm it. Good at helping others. Now, the reason why I asked you this question, what are you good at? Because then I'm going to come with this statement. Saying go and be great at it. You see, the universe has this particular thing about making everything go round. You need to have full circle. And everything in the universe needs to harmonize. How many of you understand that? The sun goes up, the sun goes down. When the sun goes down, the moon comes up. When the moon goes down, how many of you understand that that's harmony? How many of you can tell me, well, Rabbi, that's not true, because I remember on this day the sun didn't go up and the sun didn't go down. Everything in humanity has to harmonize. It could be like a fine symphony. It could be like that most awesome jazz music that I love. It could be just like that awesome rap song that I like or whatever. It could be like that nice Indian song that I like and love. But everything has to harmonize. That's what makes life beautiful. Now, if you can see me right now, I'm moving my hands in a circle, like yin and yang, left and right. I'm making circles because everything has to harmonize. You have to have harmony. That's why I'm telling you, whatever you're good at, go out and be great at it. Then go and be great at it. Greatness is a part of our nature as the children of Israel. Let's take it to our books. We're going to take it to our books for a minute. We're going to go back to the beginnings. We're going to go back to Bereshit. There's a lot of greatness taking place, in the book of Bereshit, the book of Genesis. Genesis chapter 1, verse 16. Again, I read from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. And Elohim powers appointed and brought forth two great lights. All right? Here we go. Remember I talked about the sun and the moon. We're going to hit dead center mass on it. Elohim powers appointed and brought forth two great lights. The greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. The stars. I'm going to stop right there, full stop for a minute. Now, remember we're having this big issue with, a lot of people amongst the Jewish camps, they want to say, the Shabbat, when does it really start? How many of you understand that the Shabbat is a great thing? How many of you would say that the Shabbat is a great thing? You say, Rabbi, the Shabbat is a great thing. Shabbat is great. How many of you would understand that? How many of you would say, yes, Rabbi, the Shabbat, I'm affirming. The Shabbat is great. To die for your responses, by the way. The Shabbat is great. Okay, well then why are people trying to lessen the Shabbat? Think about it for a minute. Why are people within our family trying to lessen the Shabbat? Listen to what I just read for a minute. Let's read it again in our books. Elohim powers appointed and brought forth two great lights. The greater light to rule the day. The lesser light to rule the night. The stars. Whoa, what are you saying, Rabbi? I'm saying when people want to start a night Shabbat, listen, they're lessening the Shabbat because the lesser light was to rule the night, the stars. But the greater light, you see where we're going with this? Man, my goodness, isn't this beautiful? But because the Shabbat is great, so when should we be starting the Shabbat? The greater light to rule the day. Wow. How many of you get that concept? When you listen via YouTube, the wise will understand. Do you get that concept? Do you see why we start the Shabbat when the sun comes up? Because the Shabbat is great, baby. And the Shabbat, the sun is the greater of the lights. Listen, I want to be great. I don't want to be lessened. Why are we lessening our Shabbat? Y'all forbid that I lessen the Shabbat. Y'all forbid. Why I want to start the Shabbat at night? When the lesser light rules. That's what we're told in our books. That the lesser light rules at night. When does the greater light rule? During the day. Honey B. Rose says it's obvious when you're in harmony with the light. Yeah, it does become obvious then. But there's a lot of people where obvious is not a part of their vocabulary. It's because they're still dealing with the conditioning and they're still dealing with tradition. Not to say that tradition is bad, but they've adopted tradition and they raised tradition over what's really obvious. They raised tradition over the Word of God. Tradition usurps the Word of God. And they say, we're going to roll with tradition. Because that's our tradition. Now, if you keep it a nice Shabbat, if that's your tradition, so be it. But I want to bring clarity to you. I want to this day bring greatness to you on this great day. And I want you to go out and be great. But to be great, you got to do what's great, not what's lessened. Don't lessen yourself by doing what's lesser. I want to be great. How many of you in this room want to be great? I want to be great. Put up a capital G if you want to be great. That's another affirmation you can affirm. I am great. I am greatness. I am great. And you are great, Mishpahah. Family of Israel, you're great. And I'm going to break this down to you right now, right from our books. This is a promise to us to be great. You don't believe me? Let's go to Bereshit. Again, there's a lot of greatness takes place in the book of Bereshit in the beginnings, the book of Genesis. That's where it all begins for us, Mishpahah. That's where it was all brought forth. That's not where it really all begins, but that's where it was all brought forth to us. Let's put it that way. Genesis chapter 12, verse 2. And I will make you a strong and mighty nation, and I will make you a benefit to others, and make your name great. And you shall be an increase to all who embrace you. Oh my goodness. How many of you in this room would consider yourself a descendant of Abraham? This time his name was Abram. This was promised to Abram. I'm a descendant of Abraham. That's me, baby. I'm a descendant of Abraham. Abraham, Bukashem. So that means I am too great. I too am great. All of you, don't lessen yourself. You see, you lessen yourself not by so much what you say, but by the actions that you do. So I'm telling you, if you keep in this, if you have a tradition of keeping 9 Shabbat, and I'm not knocking it if you do, if that's your tradition, then fine. But I want to bring clarity. I want to bring light and life to you this day. Shabbat is great because it starts in the day. Shabbat is a great day. It should start during the daytime. This is just, bringing clarity on proper clarity, but putting it all in common sense. And just like Honeybee Rose says, it's got to be obvious that Shabbat is a day thing. Shabbat is not a night thing. It's not lesson. Shabbat is great. And I tell you, it sure is great to watch the sun come up every day, but especially on the Shabbat. Every day is just every day. But Shabbat is Shabbat. Bukashem. Right? So, if it's great that the sun comes up every day, what would differentiate the Shabbat from all the other days? You will do it today? Why are we doing it at night? So do you see, this is one example of how our history has been lessened. Of how our way of life has been lessened. And it's been taken, it's been misunderstood, it's been misused, and more importantly, it's been misapplied. If you apply a night Shabbat to your life, you're messing yourself. Because we're told in our books that, the greater life was for the day. And God forbid that he wanted his Shabbat to be lessened. Think about that for a minute. And if you want to continue to do your traditional Shabbat at night, then so be it. That's your tradition. Traditions are not bad. Traditions can be misunderstood, and traditions can be misapplied. Just like the Word of God has been misunderstood and misapplied. Think about that for a minute. Some people have made Jesus to be a Christian. I'm here to tell you, that's misunderstood, misapplied. Jesus was a Jew. I'm telling you right now. I hope, my desire is not to bust any bubbles this day, but to bring clarity to you. Jesus was a Jew. He was born in a Jewish family, and he died a Jew. And guess what? He had a Jewish burial. Okay? I'm telling you that right now. That's how it went down. So, this point, I want you all to be great. So I ask you, what are you good at? Because I hear Christians tell me all the time, and my sister told me the other day, oh, God is good. I just moved into my new house. She got the keys. She closed on her new house. She's in her new house as of yesterday. I was like, I'm so happy for you. And she made the statement, well, God is good. I said, no, sis. I said, my God is great. My God is greatness. Because that's what she's been conditioned. Christians all the time tell you, oh, God is good. How many of you heard it? Oh, God is good. And they say, all the time. How you all these old folks that get around together, the elders in the Christian faith. They'll say, oh, God is good. Yeah, he's good all the time. No, my God is great. He is greatness. Affirm his name. He's great. He's greatness. Exemplified. I want you all, my desire for you all is to be great. Just like Cody said. He said, my desire is for all of you to be successful. However you see success, that's why I ask you, what are you good at? Because I want you to take what you're good at and then go out and be great at it. Because your greatness, you're descendants of Abraham. Your greatness. Abraham is greatness, your greatness. See yourself as greatness in your relationships. You see? See yourself as greatness. Because the Father wouldn't have it no other way. I look at my son and I see myself in him in many ways. He's only 7 months. But I see myself in him in many, many ways. And that's how the Abba looks at us. And he wants to see himself in us in many, many ways. Are you with me, Miss Bahar? So he wants you to be great. Because he is great. Maybe you can, my desire is that you take this and you apply this, and maybe from this you can start a business. Because at the end of the day, remember we talked about that harmony? You must love what you do and do what you love. I love trading the Forex. I love trading stock options and trading stock. I love doing that. I tell myself that because I do love it. Some days I win a lot of money, some days I lose. Let me tell you something. I had an assignment put on me, and Hakoin knows about it. He had it happen to him as well. But I allowed a stock to close at expiration, and I didn't close the stock before expiration. And those of you in the stock market, you will know. They'll assign that to you. So I had an assignment fee of almost $17,000 that was assigned to me from that stock. The stock closed on Friday, expiration Friday. And I didn't close the stock. I didn't close it. And so I had that stock assigned to me. I mean, the stock was mine. I owned it. And I think y'all going to laugh about this in a minute. But, so I'm thinking all weekend, I'm holding this stock. I'm like, man, money coming. You know what I'm doing? I'm not worrying. I'm not complaining. My account is in the negative. I think it was negative 18,000 something odd dollars in the red. I'm like, okay, here's an opportunity. Obviously, honey rose. Here's an opportunity for me to be worried and complain and pull all my hair out. But you know what I did? I began to use what my teacher taught me. I began to visualize that particular stock that I was in. I'm gonna give you the name of the stock in a minute. But that particular stock, the stock that I took, I began to visualize and I began to see myself. You see, because there's a relationship between me and this stock that goes deeper than just buying the stock. I actually got married in this city to my wife, my Chinese wife. She actually flew into China to Dallas, and then from Dallas we went right to. Oh, okay, I'll give you the name of the stock. The name of the stock was the Las Vegas stock. So I went right to, she flew into Dallas and we went right into Las Vegas and got married by Elvis. Las Vegas said, yes it was, I go eat. And so I began to, you know what? And I'm telling you, listen, I practice what our Queen preaches. I put it into practice. I apply it. And I began Friday, I began to envision that Las Vegas sand stock. Now, if you know anything about Vegas, you all know Vegas is shut down, right? For those of you who've been to Vegas, you know it's shut down. There's nobody going to casinos, nothing. So what do you think about the stock? Do you think the stock is going to rise? Think about it. Anybody with common sense would think, man, Vegas stock is not going up anytime soon. Everything's shut down. No hotels, nobody gambling. Man, that stock is going to fall to the, to the deepest parts of Sheol. It's going to the deepest parts of Sheol. So I'm thinking. So I began to visualize that Vegas stock, LVS, Tadahakovi, is going to rise come Monday when the market opens. And I begin to see this. I begin to see the bars, like, on my platform. It just began to shoot up. I was like, oh, the stock is going to go up, and I'm going to close in profit. I'm not going to end up, and I begin to visualize this Monday. I begin to visualize what? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Come Monday, my goodness, the market opens. Bukashim, Ms. Bahar. I was able to close the stock in profit. Assignment, accounts in the green. Bukashim. What do you see? I mean, that's just, take it, and I'm not just saying just, but you can apply the perfect law to every area of your life. You say, what do you mean, Rabbi? Can I manipulate the stock market that way? Like I said, you can apply this to every part of your life, to where the stock market will become beneficial to you, not a curse. See, the stock market, just like everything else in life, is to be a blessing to you, not a curse. Do you get it? Do you get it? And there's more to come. But again, I begin to tell myself, I have favor with Vegas. I was married in Vegas. I have great favor. I married the wife of my dreams in Vegas. So me in Vegas, we have a deep, and I begin to say this, I have a great relationship with Las Vegas. I have a great relationship with Vegas. You see, everything at the end of the day boils down to a relationship. What kind of relationship? Is it a stressful relationship? Is it a good relationship? Is it a great relationship? Is it a hectic relationship? Is it a depressing relationship? You have to look at everything as a relationship. How many of you have a great relationship with money? Money. You have to have a great relationship with money, and you have to say that and affirm it. Me and money have a great relationship, and our relationship will last forever. You see what I'm saying? And you have to affirm it. And I know you will teach you how to say it. If you have problems, with how to phrase it, to where it just gets right to the foundation, then you get with the Kohen. He'll teach you. But just like I said at the beginning of my lecture, everything dealing with relationship happens first. So if you can take everything and put it in a relationship form, that'll strengthen it. That'll give energy to your energy, to meet your energy. You get it? I have to have a relationship with that stock. And every one of the stocks that I buy, I have a relationship with. And I make it that way, to where it becomes personal, to where you have a relationship with them. And I have not only a relationship, but I say I have a great relationship with this stock. A great relationship. Because how many of you know you can have relations and they can be bad relations just as well as they can be good relations? See? It's very, very important to understand that. It's very, very important to understand on the relationship level. So what are you good at? Then go out and be great at it. Whatever you're good at, go out and be great at it. Some have to adopt new relationships. Well, I want to be good at something else that I'm not good at right now. Then grow that relationship. Practice. Get you a good mentor. Learn it. And then replicate. And just do it. But I would encourage you all to try many different things. And then certain things you'll find that you like and other things that you won't like. But don't chalk it up by saying, well, I didn't try because I didn't think I'd be good at it, but at least you tried. Put forth the effort. Like I already said, put in the work. And then you find out it's not workable for you, or you're not happy doing that, then okay, scratch that one, move on to the next one. Just like you refine your list. When you look at your list, some of the things on your list, you can you don't need it. You can scratch that. It's really not that important to you. Whilst others, you put it at the top of the list, and those things stick with you every day as you go through your day. And those things bring strength to those things and establish those things in a relationship format, and my goodness, that's going to take you to other levels. So on that note, I'm going to close it up, this lecture. But I want you to ask yourself this question, and maybe we'll follow it up on it next week as well, if the master so desires to linger, and we're not back in Israel. But what are you good at? I like more feedback on that. I like more affirming on that part. What am I good at? So you can go out and be great at it. But you don't just do something because Rabbi Kefa is doing it. Don't just do something because Rabbi Simon the Kohen is doing it. Do something because that's what you want to do. Stock market is not for everybody. Forex is not for everybody. Getting a wife from China is not for everybody. That's just not for everybody. That was for me, but it's not for everybody. So you have to find out what's for you. That's that relationship that you're building with what? With yourself. You're getting to know yourself. Love yourself, get to know yourself, it's just very important. Because how are you going to say you love God, you love everybody else outside of you, but you don't love yourself? That's hypocritical. That's hypocritical. You cannot say you love God because God is inside of you. You can't love God if you don't love yourself. That's hypocritical. You must love yourself, then you do love God. Because God springs from you. You don't have to go search for God. God is in you. God said he'll never leave you or forsake you. So why we have to go search for him? When he said he'll never leave us. If you believe the scriptures, if you believe our history, God don't leave us. Think about that for a minute. You see so many people, they're searching for God. Well, literally, you know what that statement really means that they don't understand? That they're ignorant of because they just don't understand? Is that they need to search for self. Because guess what? When they find self, they'll find God. Think about that for a minute. That's heavy, isn't it? That's heavy. That's heavy. Think about that. God is within you first. Then when you see God within you, then God said he never leave us or forsake us. So where is he? He's within us. Wherever you are, that's where he is. Who is him? So something to think about. Something to meditate on. You don't have the revelation of having that understanding yet. Ask for more revelation so you can understand. The kingdom of God is within you, not without you. The kingdom of God is within. On that note, we'll wrap it up. I'll pass it over to Kohen. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them at this time. Please do. Okay? We'll be sharing. Shabbat shalom, shalom, shalom. Have an awesome, great 6 days of labor ahead. All of you.
Todah for that, Rabbi Kefa. And for all the people that are listening in, I would like to say this, that if you're searching for God in the clouds, if you got your head stuck in the clouds and you're waiting for that Jesus to turn up, on a horse from Kentucky, maybe from Windsor in London, England side, you'll be waiting forever, because he's not coming on a horse, and neither is God stuck in the cloud somewhere. So the kingdom is within you, God is within you. If you know how to access God, you know how to get every desire in your life. And what happens when we die, we don't worry about it, because we get reincarnated again. And maybe you'll come back 10 times, maybe 20 times. But so don't, chase after religions, because religion's not going to give you truth. They're going to give you tradition. And if you like tradition, then yeah, you can go to religion. But man's religions are all fake, and with a big F, and false. And Jesus on a horse coming down is also a big fake. It's never going to happen. Don't trust it. That's symbolism. That is just simply pictorial. It is, you don't see God, the creator of this universe, riding a man-made horse, like a human creature, like a earthly creature. God doesn't ride earthly creatures. So, we got to wake up to what is real. Torah is real. Torah is facts, and you got the history to back it up, and you know what is truth. And the rest, is all fakedom. And there's a lot of that in the world today. So don't waste your time with fake things in the world. Look at what is real and follow the real. And as for the restoration of our people, that will happen. Whether that happens now, whether that happens in 10 generations' time, it don't matter. Because we have every opportunity to better our lives. And we need to do that. And that's what we're going to do. You have family life, you have social life, you have business life, you have all sorts of different types of life. Right now, your social life is probably practically zero, because you can't go anywhere other than your shopping places. But soon, things will open up, and coronavirus will be just a thing of the past, and people will still die. Don't say to yourself, or don't think that people won't die next year from corona. People will still die. But maybe not as much, and maybe not as much reported. Right now, every attention is on it. Every attention is on this little virus, and everybody's thoughts, everybody's, fear is really what's propagating this. You see, when the whole world is in fear, collectively, that's what you're propagating. You're propagating fear. So, remove yourself from fear. Put yourself to one side and don't fear anything, because fear creates panic and fear creates chaos. You don't want to be part of chaos. You want to be part of the solution, not the problem. So with that, I'll leave you to this awesome Shabbat. Have a great Shabbat and great week ahead. Shabbat Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.